Tonight, the Murphy Panthers come in fresh off a fourth quarter comeback win over Fairhope and trying to enter their bye week next week at 3-1. But we are in Viking land, and Mary Montgomery is banding together to keep those pesky Panthers at bay and improve their record to 3-1 as well. Can Murphy spoil Mary Montgomery's homecoming, or will the Vikings punish the Panthers and get the win? We find out next with the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Al Whedon, along with Corey LeBounty. Down on the sidelines, we have Kimberly Dunn. And Corey, both of these teams are hot, but tonight, someone's going to take an L.
A huge 7A Region 1 matchup here in Sims, Alabama. Looking forward to seeing the outcome at the end of this game because it's going to be pivotal to establishing playoff seeding. Both of these teams want to make that playoff push. So tonight, you cannot let one slip away if you're the MGM Vikings. The Murphy Panthers are trying to build off of the momentum that they had from that come-behind victory over the Fairhope Pirates 1 week ago.
You're right about that. Both teams 2-1, 1-1 in the region, as you saw the records on the screen as we came up. Corey, last year Murphy won this game by only 6 points. It was 36-30, actually a high-scoring affair last year.
Without question, I don't think we'll see that type of fireworks tonight. I think you'll see a defensive battle on both sides of the football. But again, it's going to be up to seeing who's up to the task of answering that bell, of trying again to get into that playoff position and put yourself in a situation to where if this game does get away from you, you're fighting an uphill battle trying to get in to the 7A Region 1 playoffs.
All right, we just talked about her. She's down on the sidelines, Kimberly Dunn. Before we came up on the air, we had a slight shower, so let's check in with Kimberly Dunn for game field conditions right now. What's going on, Kim?
That's right. You wouldn't know it to look now, and the field still looks to be in good condition, but it poured on us down here. We were all trying to hide under this little bitty tent. But luckily for these guys, there is no chances of rain further tonight, so they won't have to worry about hiding under a tent. And through the night, the temperature is going to gradually get better, so it will eventually by 10 o'clock be in the 70s. So I'm sure these guys will be looking forward to that as well.
Thank you, Kimberly. We appreciate that. Had a slight breeze came in, Corey, after that little slight shower. And it wasn't a 3 o'clock shower. It was more like a 6 o'clock shower today.
Yeah, you look at the situation. Today, the high in Mobile, Alabama was 98 degrees. And when this shower came in, it really cooled things off. But we'll see if it's going to change the field conditions at all because anytime it does rain, it creates that slick field, and because this is natural grass instead of the artificial turf like at Ladd Peebles Stadium, footing will be essential to get the running game started.
All right, speaking of the games, let's get to your checklist for both of these teams. It is MGM's homecoming, so they're going to be up first on your checklist. What do you have in store for the Vikings tonight, Corey?
Al, you look at the MGM Vikings, it's going to be very important for them to maintain momentum on offense. They really want to establish the running game tonight, and that's something that's going to be very important down and distance-wise. They believe they can finish strong is what the coaching staff has emphasized here this week in homecoming. They know that Murphy Panthers are going to give them a four-quarter battle, and they want to finish very, very strong, Al. Focus through distractions. I just mentioned homecoming being this week. You have 15, 16, 17-year-old young men. Sometimes they get caught up in the festivities and lose focus on the football field. So they're hoping, the coaching staff is seeing that the homecoming won't be a distraction.
Okay. Now on the other side, you have Murphy. They're visiting tonight. What's on your checklist for the Panthers?
Murphy must control the plus-minus game. They want to make sure that they're creating turnovers and on the plus side of that situation at the end of 4 quarters. They also must be poised to produce points early. Getting off to a fast start is something Coach Rico has really stressed to his team, not playing from behind. And they have to play with that Panther pride. You know, Murphy is one of the oldest schools in the state of Alabama. From a historical standpoint, they've had a lot of success, wins, losses-wise, and they want to continue that tradition, again, trying to catapult themselves into playoff position.
All right, there's your checklist for tonight. Right now, we're going to get your starters up for both of these teams, the starting lineup. MGM, they're the home team, so we're going to take a look at their starting lineup headed your way. Tonight, getting the start for quarterback is Ashton Hollins for the Vikings. Max Parton not getting the start. So Coach McCain told me they kind of want to run it up a little bit. So when I mean run it up, with up and down the field. So they're going to bring some more athleticism. So keep your eye out for quarterbacks doing that. Also across that front line, they average 223 pounds across the front. Right guard Nick McCluskey, his father is the offensive coordinator Gordon McCluskey. So we'll be calling their names a lot tonight on the MGM offense. For the Murphy defense, led by Karan Marion, the senior linebacker, leads them in tackles. Also keep your eye out for number 35, Jamari Butler. He's a senior, has a little bit of playing experience, but tonight he is really ready to break through, as Coach Jackson's told us the other day when we met with him. They run a 4-3, Corey. They're averaging 250 across the front. Big bulk for the Murphy Panthers tonight on defense. And now we'll flip over and take a look at the offense of Murphy, coming in tonight averaging about 23 points a contest, led by Alex Howell. We'll spotlight this guy later on. He picked up some awards this week. Also in the backfield, Darius Wheeler, and keep your eyes out for Jeremy Washington playing the halfback, and Tanaka Scott, the wide receiver. He's brought down a few touchdown passes, a big one last week against Fairhope in that comeback win. Murphy averaging 263 across their offensive line. Across from them, Mary G. Montgomery, they're playing a 3-4, averaging 220 across the front, and they are led by Sean Maxwell and Matt Chapman. They'll play in the linebacker position, and rovering tonight is William Nunn for them. Also keep your eye out for Carrick Bumpers, defensive end number 3 for the MGM Vikings. And we are just moments away from kickoff here at E.S. Grider Stadium in Sims. It's a 7A Region 1 battle. MGM is going to be receiving the ball here, Corey. Field is looking absolutely great. We just talked about it. Had a little shower, but it could be slick down there, as you alluded to.
Well, yeah, we're going to see who can establish themselves early, and that's going to be credited to both teams, and that's what both teams want to do.
Short kick coming from the Panthers right there, taken by one of the up guys. Can't seem to find his way, but he eventually gets his feet together and gets up to about the 30-yard line, as MGM will come out on offense, led by quarterback Ashton Hollins. He's just a sophomore, so really getting his first start of the season. He has had some playing time so far.
5 out of 9 for 92 yards with 1 touchdown on the season. Not a lot of passing attempts, but rushing the football is something he feels very comfortable with. 16 rushes for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. He leads this Viking offense in rushing.
Murphy defense giving up 19.7 points a contest. And as we said, keep your eye out for number 5, Karan Marion, the middle linebacker. High snap to Hollins. All he needs to do is fall on it. The young sophomore tries to pick it up and run, Corey. You might want to swallow your medicine and immediately go down, situation like that.
Yeah, you just want to cover that football up. Just a high snap's going to put the MGM Vikings way behind down in distance situations. It's going to be close to a 10, 20-yard loss on the play. Going to bring up 2nd down and 23 yards to go.
High snap from Blankenship, the senior center for the Vikings. Handoff, and it's a fumble. Hollins tries to get on top of it as he handed it off to Edgerrin Houston. And Corey, the Vikings continuing to shoot themselves in the foot after the first 2 plays from scrimmage tonight.
We talked about Murphy wanting to control that plus-minus situation at the end of the game. The ball has hit the turf here twice to begin this game. The Vikings putting in reverse early, putting themselves at 3rd and 34.
Clouds have cleared out here. It's a bit cool here at E.S. Grider Stadium. 3rd and long as Houston moves to the left side of Hollins. They're just going to play it safe and hand it off to Edgerrin Houston up the middle and try to get some of that pain back and get some yards back as he takes it up to about the 25-yard line. And just that quick, Corey, we're going to see the punting crew out to punt for the Vikings. Chris Brewer.
Trent Craig, the 5'9", 165-pound senior on the stop for the Murphy Panthers. Comes in at 1.5 sacks, 9 solo, and 1 interception. Murphy will have prime field and real estate to begin tonight's contest.
Darius Wheeler standing at his own 37-yard line awaiting the punt from Brewer. Before the punt happens, we have a flag on the play. Looks like possibly a sideline warning against the Panthers as the official was kind of pointing to the Murphy bench there, Corey.
Yeah, and if that just a sideline warning, the next will result in a penalty flag coming down on the field. But it's a situation here to where the Vikings didn't get off to the type of start that they really would have liked to have had. On the adverse side of that, the Panthers, again, setting themselves up for great field position as Theris Wheeler, like you just mentioned, will be back to return this punt for the Panthers.
There's a look at our officials tonight, led by head referee Alan Duhan, going to be making the calls tonight for the ball game. So we'll get a do-over right here after that warning. Wheeler has moved up closer to about his own 43-yard line, waiting for the punt from Chris Brewer. Nice punt from Brewer there. Good hang time, and Wheeler calls for a fair catch and goes back and drops it. But another Panthers trying to get on top of it, Corey, moving a bit lazily, and we don't know who has this ball.
It looks like the MGM Vikings at the bottom of it are going to roll away with the football, but you're right. At the bottom of that huddle that's a great camera shot. It's going to be who's in the weight room trying to establish the football at this point in time. And it looks like the Vikings will recover.
Vikings get it. Xavier Dixon came over to get on top of it. Corey, maybe I called it lazy. I could be wrong. It could be the slick field moving up against that slick pigskin on the grass.
Well, it's a situation to where Wheeler did call for the fair catch, and it slipped right between his arms. That's one of those unforced turnovers for the Panthers, but it's just like a huge play for the Vikings on the other side, because they went 3 in the wrong direction,
right.
And now they're right knocking in red zone territory of the Panthers.
Great situation here for MGM. 1st and 10. Ball on about the 29-yard line of Murphy. Holland's going to keep it up the middle. He goes, picks up a couple there. And the scrum is finally come to an end. Let's take a look at the impact players right quick for MGM. Who do you have tonight, Corey, for MGM Vikings?
For the Vikings, Sean Maxwell, the middle linebacker, will be calling his name a lot when the Vikings hit the field defensively. And quarterback Ashton Hollins, we just saw him on that quarterback keeper. He, again, leads the Vikings in rushing. And, again, you mentioned this is one of his first starts of the season.
Picked up about 4 or 5 right there, so it's going to be 2nd down as Houston goes into motion. They lateral it out to him, and he drops and fumbles it, Corey. The pigskin is quite slippery tonight, and the Panthers are all over it. Recovering the fumble, looks like number 3 for the Panthers getting that recovery.
I think there's a little bacon grease on that
Craig,
pigskin.
I believe. Yeah, I
little
believe it
bacon
is. You're
grease
right.
Because it's very slippery for both teams. They rotate the balls in and out, do both teams, so it's not the same football that was fumbled just moments ago. But, again, the Vikings don't take advantage of a turnover by the Panthers, and now the Panthers are right back in business where they fumbled the punt off.
1st and 10 for the Murphy Panthers. Alex Howell leading the Panthers, going for a little quick out route here, and he does connect. That pass is complete and gets it out to his receiver. On the grab there, Adrian Milton for a big gain, big chunk yardage for the Panthers.
Wonderful throw by Alex Howell as he drops back and just puts that ball on the money. 6'2", 183-pound senior Milton is able to get his 14th reception on the season. He leads these Panthers with 3 touchdowns so far on the season, but that's a great way to come back. First play on offense, they decided that they had no coverage over the top, single coverage. I think they'll go right back to him here because the cornerback is playing press coverage, C.J. Wallace on Milton.
Double receiver stacked at the top as Howell looks over there. Quick handoff to Wheeler, and he is upended at the line, taking the Panthers a 2nd down. They could maybe lost a yard there.
Offensive coordinator Justin Thomas for the Murphy Panthers comes in averaging 17 points per game, and that's pretty good considering you look at the Panthers trailing 24-6 late in the 4th quarter at Fairhope last week and coming away with a great team win. 2nd
and about 11 here for the Panthers. Howell, little screen set up, and that ball is live and tipped at the line. That appears to be an interception as the Vikings bring it down, hauling that ball down for their number 21, Marlon Sampson, Corey, on the tip drill. That's our 3rd turnover for total, and we're just, 5 minutes into the ball game.
Marlon Sampson, the 5'10", 170-pound senior free safety, is able to capitalize off of that tip drill, and just an unfortunate situation. They were trying to set up the patient screen.
Right.
If you got to knock it down, knock it down. You don't want that ball to go in the air, because if he would have caught the football, he had blocking in front of him. But the MGM Vikings now, they must take care of this football and get a little momentum going on offense.
1st and 10 for the Vikings. On the run for them, taking that ball, Austin Johnson trying to weave his way and get a yard or two. It'll take the Vikings to 2nd down. Corey, I've flipped my flip chart so many times, I'm not fanning myself, but we've had that much change of possession this quick in the ball game.
You're looking at 7:15 remaining here in the first quarter. Normally you have 3 turnovers total in a game, much less a quarter. Back to back to back to back. It's unbelievable the amount of turnovers that we've seen so far on the football field.
2nd down and about, I'll say, a long 7. They credited Johnson with a couple yards there for the Vikings. They hand it back off to him again. No, on the keeper is Hollins. And Hollins is going to get up close to the 1st down marker, picks up maybe about 5 or 6. 3rd and short coming up for MGM.
Nice run pass option. Decided to take it out of the belly of the running back and keep it himself. Tackle made by Khalil Johnson, the 5'10", 162-pound junior safety for the Panthers.
3rd and short here for the Vikings as they're looking over to the sideline to get the call. Plenty of time left on the play clock. Hollins awaits the snap, and we have a flag on the play before that one got off.
False start going to be called against MGM. And it goes from 3rd down and short now to 3rd down and 7. That really changes the play calling ability. You look at this MGM offense led by offensive coordinator Grady McCluskey. He already comes into this situation lined up in the shotgun, so you're already 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Now you're looking at a situation to when that ball is snapped in the shotgun situation, you're already at the down marker, 10 yards behind the yard to gain mark.
Johnson to the right of Hollins. Hollins going back to pass, does get that one out, and it is complete. Gets that ball out to Jarius Green, the big receiver, picks up the 1st down and across the midfield strike, Corey.
Wonderful route by Jarius Green. That's his 2nd reception of the season. Only had 1 for 11 yards coming in, but that's a huge 1st down, gaining momentum for the Vikings, and we're going to observe the first heat timeout of the quarter.
Look at the replay right there. We'll get our first heat timeout and a sure enough break. Right now at 5:45 here in the first quarter. Corey, let's try to get our impact players on from Murphy. Couldn't quite get them on earlier. Right now the rain, maybe the ground, the fumbles are having an impact. But for the Panthers, who do you have as your impact players tonight?
Karan Marion, he's going to be the linebacker senior, 5'10", 210 pounds, making the difference. And also Tanaka Scott, wide receiver, 6'4", 187-pound junior. Had a couple of touchdowns last week, or a couple of key catches last week against the Pirates.
Right.
Look for quarterback Alex Howard to go back to Scott tonight.
I appreciate that. Let's take it out to the sideline. Shake back in with Kimberly Dunn.
Hey, we talked about this a little bit earlier, that this is my alma mater, so I have high hopes for this Mary Montgomery team. And they do, just like the coach said before the game, they may have a few things that are going against them, some distractions, but definitely the conditions of this field is not helping either one of these teams. We've already seen some slippage and that ball getting wet and causing 3 turnovers just in the first 5 minutes of the game. So hopefully coming back into this, they will be able to overcome every obstacle that's thrown at them.
I appreciate that, Kim. We're not going to talk about things she told me she did in high school, Corey. We may share them later on, but she was a very active young lady here at MGM. Up the middle and active with a big run, Austin Johnson, as he plows ahead and gets a big, big game for the MGM Vikings.
You look at Austin Johnston coming in, having 15 rushes for 35 yards on the season. Well, he takes a huge chunk out of this Murphy Panther defense right up the gut, very patient in the hole and hits it hard. 5'6", 140-pound senior picking up a fresh set of downs for the Vikings.
And speaking of fresh, a nice fresh breeze atop the press box here at ES Grider Stadium, right on time. And as I said, a fumble of the pigskin again. Hollins just running for his life, trying to get down. Corey, the young man, he's got to get down quickly. Save those yards. Just get down. Get down.
Offensive coordinator Grady McCluskey will talk to him about that.
Yeah.
That's just the inexperience, trying to make a play once it's busted. Just fall down, take your losses. Don't create an additional 10-yard loss. So now you're looking at second down and probably 27 yards to go.
Coach McCain told me if we do get into a 2-minute situation or situations where they need to pick a little up tempo, possibly look at bringing in Max Parton, the senior quarterback who's gotten some starts this season as well. So we possibly could be seeing him. But this is the attack they want to go with. A little bit more run. So bringing Hollins in there, that screen once again, and that ball is almost picked off by the Murphy Panthers from his nose tackle position. Wayne Houston, I'm going to blame it on the ball being slippery, Corey.
The big fella hit him right in his hands. 5'9", 264-pound senior. That's a lineman's dream, folks, to have that ball hit you right in the hands, have an opportunity to possibly take it to the house, a race. He diagnoses it perfectly, but he wasn't able to come away with it. Third down and long to go for the Vikings.
Corey, you talking about big man on campus. If he would have brought that one down for the big ugliest man, everybody would have been his friend next week. And Murphy, wow. Third and long here for the Vikings. Hollins rolls out, does have a man deep, and that ball is tipped up and brought down. Interception by Murphy on the run back. The young man we called earlier, Xavier Dixon, on that botched punt return. Dixon makes up for it and gets the interception. But for MGM, Jarius Green looking for the flag, Corey, thinking maybe there was some contact down on the field.
Xavier Dixon, the 5'10", 150-pound junior, is able to catch off of the tip drill. The second time tonight we've seen the tip drill go into effect, and it's just been a turnover fest.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Stan McCain is not happy at all on the sidelines for the Vikings. Not sure if he's fussing at the officials or just talking to his players, but he's going up and down the sideline, not happy at all.
Coverage came over right there on that play for the defense for Murphy to help out was Khalil Jackson to kind of create that interception for Dixon to take advantage of. Wheeler on the run, picks up a couple of yards for the Panthers. I'm sorry, Rayshawn Kidd Bryant, they bring in the backup running back on that one.
5'10", 179-pound junior with his 15th rushing attempt on the season. Has no gain on the play. The Vikings defense stayed home. Second down and 10 yards to go for the Panthers.
You said it at the top, Corey, possibly a more of a defensive battle tonight. Both teams with 2 turnovers tonight, and we are 3:42 remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, you wanted to see both teams try to establish that rushing game. The Vikings have had a couple of good runs, but I tell you what, turnovers have affected both of these teams. We've seen some 5 turnovers here in the first quarter alone.
Howell takes the snap. He's got a man open. That's Ferris Wheeler wide open up the middle, Corey, and he has nothing but green in front of him. And the Murphy Panthers are on the board. Quick strike ability. Unbelievable touchdown for the Panthers.
Wheeler with his 9th reception on the season, and that's just a beautiful seam route. 66-yard touchdown strike for the Panthers. Nice throw by Alex Howell, and officially it's going to be 67.
At least 76.
76 yard. That's just a big play, and that's the type of explosiveness that you really wanted to see. There was no help, just a straight seam route. Great job of the instant replay by the truck showing us the nice throw and catch, and it was off to the races by Wheeler.
Reston Kambabala with the PAT, and Murphy is on top 7-0 at the 3:13 mark. We'll be back. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Parents, will your child be 4 years of age on or before September 1st, 2020? If so, mark your calendar for this January for pre-K open enrollment. In order to enroll your child, you must complete the online pre-K registration. For a complete list of pre-K sites as well as screening information and selection dates, visit mcpss.com. for your chance to be a part of Alabama's first-class pre-K program. Log on this January. In Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today, leading tomorrow.
We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Murphy on top 7-0 after a 76-yard touchdown pass from Alex Howard of Theris Wheeler. And Corey, you called it. He ran the seam right up the middle, and they zipped it up for a quick 6. MGM bringing this one back up to about the 28-yard line, but that was a great play from Howard of Wheeler there.
Without question, Alan, it's that spark that the Panther fans and the Panther offense really needed as we were plagued by turnovers, really wondering was anybody ever going to take care of the football and sustain some type of drive. But that quick strike ability, when you just run that go seam route and you don't have any defenders over the top to help you, great throw by Howell. Great catch of looking it in all the way in for the touchdown by Wheeler.
1st and 10 for Mary Montgomery as they're sitting at about their 28-yard line here. 3:07 remains here in the first quarter. They just want to get some consistency right now. Hollins keeps it and runs right into a bunch of Panthers, and he is wrapped up maybe about a 1 or 2 yard gain.
And one of the things I'm looking at is the Panther defenders are ripping away at the football. It looks like we're going to have a Panther player down, slow to get up.
Score coming in right now, McGill Tulane on top of Davidson 7-6 early in the contest. Running off the field there, Corey. We talked about him on the last series for Mary Montgomery. Wayne Houston runs out, maybe got a little slight injury or a little stinger or something, so it looks like we'll probably see him again. 2nd and 8, we'll call it for the Vikings. Hollins gets that one out. It is incomplete as he tried to connect with Kelton Young. Couldn't catch the ball, so that'll be 3rd and long here for MGM.
And that's his favorite target. Has 13 receptions for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns on the season. So being 5'6", 140 pounds, if he catches the football, we know he has blazing speed. But 3rd down and 8 yards to go with 2:15 remaining here in the first quarter. This is a big opportunity for the Panthers to try to keep the Vikings from flipping the field.
Hollins rolls out to his left, throws back across his body, cannot connect. Been trying to get with Green a couple times tonight, and that one is incomplete, but there is a flag on the play.
And that'll be an interesting situation to where it was right where Ashton Hollins rolled out, and we'll get our call right now.
Holding against the Vikings, so that'll push them back. But that penalty is going to be declined. It will be 4th down. Murphy said just punt it and let's get going.
And it'll be interesting to see if Murphy is able to field this football cleanly. As we saw earlier, the struggles that Murphy had trying to field that football, Wheeler was able to catch the touchdown strike from Howell.
Right.
But it's a big difference when that football is kicked high in the air, as MGM has an outstanding punter, Chris Brewer.
That punt is going to end up maybe at about the 33-yard line as it goes out of bounds. Wheeler didn't have to worry about bumbling or fumbling that one, Corey. It was nowhere near him. So Murphy, pretty decent field position right here at the 1:59 mark of the first quarter.
Yeah, Chris Brewer did a wonderful job right there. His long punt of the season was 34 yards. He is perfect from an extra point standpoint, but right here now trailing 7-0 with 1:59 remaining here in the first quarter, it's going to be imperative that this Viking defense, who only gives up 8 points per game, dig in right here and get a stop.
Looks like offense coordinator Justin Thomas is ready to air it out. Empty set, trips to the top, double stack at the bottom. Everyone going out on this one as the Panthers air it out. A bit high, incomplete for Howell as he tried to get it out to Dequarius Westry. 2nd down for Murphy.
And it's a situation where Ty McMillan, the 6', 165-pound senior cornerback, had an opportunity to make a difference, but there is a flag on the play.
PA announcer calls that it's a personal foul against the Vikings. That'll push them 15 yards, so give great field position for the Panthers. They're getting close to the midfield stripe. On that previous series, that was Alex Howell's 6th touchdown through the air and Darius Wheeler's 2nd receiving touchdown of the season. So they're continuing to improve their numbers at Murphy offensively. First down and 10, ball sitting real nice here for the Panthers at about the 47-yard line, trying to get on the board before the quarter ends. Howell takes the snap, hands it off to Rayshawn Kid Bryant. Picks up about 7 or 8, good run, maybe 6 on that, Corey. We'll call it 2nd and about 4.
Positive yardage is what they wanted to establish. Kid Bryant, the 5'10", 179-pound junior, again with positive yardage on first down. It's going to bring up 2nd down and a long 4 yards to go.
Panthers looking over to the sideline, the offensive coordinator. Look right there at Max Pardon, senior quarterback there for the MGM Vikings. Possibly may see him at some point tonight. I'm pretty sure we possibly will, Corey. Offense has been kind of here and there for the Vikings. That ball is complete across the middle to Tanaka Scott, and he is brought down at about the 7 or 8 yard line. Big gain for the Panthers.
Another seam route run by Alex Howell. If we're able to take a look at that, finds one of his favorite targets, Tanaka Scott, hard to miss, impact player, 6'4", 187-pound junior with his 13th reception of the season.
Just outside of the 10-yard line, so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Panthers.
Something you don't see often is Tanaka being caught from behind, but just another seam route.
Hand off to Kid Bryant, bullying his way, Corey, for about 6 or 7 yards. 2nd down for the Panthers.
Offensive coordinator Justin Thomas, who is a former head coach at Satsuma High School, has found something that he likes with this quarterback, dialing up a seam route in a couple of situations. One they scored on, and that one a huge gain. Now it's going to bring up 2nd down and 4 yards to go for the Panthers.
Murphy can't get a first down without having to score here. And it looks like that is going to be the end of the first quarter with Murphy knocking on the doorstep trying to get another score. Panthers on top 7-0. We'll be back with 2nd quarter action. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
I have known since I was in 4th grade that I was going to be a teacher. I really just truly enjoy coming to work every day and working with different sets of kids and just watching them grow and learn.
I couldn't see myself doing anything other than teaching children, being a part of children's lives, being able to inspire them in a way that some people just aren't able to do. And to know that every day is a new day, a new opportunity to make a difference in the child's life means everything to me.
Want to find out which Mobile County High School is right for you? Join us on Tuesday, September 24th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the USA Mitchell Center for our Signature Academy Showcase. The event is open to all 7th and 8th graders and parents. Representatives from all 12 high schools will be on hand to talk about our academies. Whether it's aviation, engineering, or healthcare, there's hundreds of career options to choose from. So join us on Tuesday, September 24th for our Signature Academy Showcase. At Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today, leading tomorrow.
Future Ones, where you can get team apparel and equipment from baseball to wrestling and all sports in between. Wear the future with Future Ones. Also thanking our folks at Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives. Thanks to Jim and Susie Sherman at the Greenlight Road location. Corey, they took care of us tonight with the sandwiches from Firehouse Subs. Plus a portion of subs purchased go to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, providing life-saving equipment to first responders. So thanks to Jim and Susie Sherman. Corey, I know you had a bit of a wrestle to get in because you were coming in with the sandwiches and it was raining at the same time.
Hey, look, I tell you what, I just took my bread a little damp, Al, but that's okay because it was still wonderful and delicious.
So an interesting first quarter there, Corey. I don't know if our statistician China Powell can get some numbers to you, but one number I do know, 2 turnovers for MGM and 2 turnovers for Murphy. What an interesting first quarter we had here at ES Grider Stadium.
I tell you what, that's a beautiful shot of the sunset. We did not have a lot of shining as far as taking care of the football in the first quarter of play. Some 5 turnovers by both teams combined. But you look at the scoreboard, Murphy's ultimately on top, leading 7-0, knocking at the door, trying to make it another 5 yards away from gaining another score.
Need about 2 or 3 to get a first down. They can pick up the first down without scoring. Handoff right there from the Panthers and wrapped up. Kid Bryant is wrapped up. Let's take a look at the first quarter stats right quick, Corey.
As we're waiting for the stats to pop up, big stop by the Viking defense, stepping up from his defensive end position. Carrick Bumpers, the 6'1", 234-pound senior, makes the stop. You look at the passing yards, 150 by the Panthers as opposed to 15 for the Vikings.
Right.
Rushing yards, only 8 by the Panthers, 20 by the Vikings. And Coach will take that. Coach Rico will take that all day, every day in regards to leading on the scoreboard 7-0. But again, both of these coaches want to establish the running game.
Key stat line right there, no penalties for the Panthers in the first quarter, Cora. Looks like Coach Jackson's going to call a timeout. Maybe some confusion going on. We had a chance to talk to him earlier this week. You and I were at the McGill-Tulane game a couple of weeks ago when the Panthers burned all 3 of their timeouts in the first quarter. But he told us, hey, man, I'm not worried about timeouts in the first quarter. I'll get some more in the second half. But he wants to make sure things are done correctly. They don't want to get a penalty and lose yardages.
And that's a situation to where you're on the 7-yard line. You definitely want to make sure that everybody's on the same script and on the same page, because you don't want to turn over the football. You want to try to get 7 points on the board, because we talked about how much of a premium points are in this game.
Halftime, we'll have the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge. Kimberly Dunn will go into the stands and get a spectator, ask them a trivia question, and give them a couple of answers to choose from. If they get it correctly, she will take care of them with a Chick-fil-A prize pack. Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge coming up. So, Corey, I said it earlier, and Kimberly talked about it. She's a graduate of MGM, and she told me some things she did in high school. She was like the head featured twirler on the field for the band. And I said, well, Kimberly, maybe you should come up with a trivia question of what are some things you didn't twirl when you were She told me she twirled fire, she twirled knives, and some other things she wouldn't tell me about. So I had no idea. No idea.
Interesting that Kimberly is giving back to MGM, coming back to MGM, watching her former band Auxiliary perform at halftime, but doing a wonderful job bringing us updates from the sidelines.
And they're going to have a nice halftime show, too. They put on a great halftime show here in Viking land, and we'll be sure to show those bands at halftime. Howell rolling out. Does have a man in the corner. That's Tanaka Scott. He can't haul it in. Maybe that was the reason they wanted to call a timeout, to get the play they wanted. They saw a little mismatch, but unfortunately that takes the Panthers the 4th down.
And when you're deep in the red zone, you have to decide as a coach where you have a kicker that has the ability to knock down close to a 27, 24-yard field goal in that situation. You want to go ahead and not leave points on the field.
Reston Kambabala coming on to kick this one. I saw him kicking a few before the game tonight, Corey, and I saw him up to about the 40-yard line, booming him through. But, of course, no one was rushing Kambabala at that time. So, looks like this one is going to be about a 25-yard field goal here, depending on where they spot it. And speaking of spotting, the play clock running down, the Panthers may have to burn a timeout. And the flag comes out. Let's see if they granted the timeout before the delay of game flag. Maybe not. So that's a 5-yard penalty against the Panthers. Pushes the back. I'm surprised that Coach Jackson didn't call the timeout there, Corey.
Well, now you move it from 24 yards to 29 yards, so you're definitely feeling comfortable with your kicker from this range. You mentioned seeing him in pregame, being able to boom that football through the goalpost, so we'll see what type of range he has here from 29 yards.
Kick is up, and Kambabala puts enough draw on it, and it is good as Murphy extends their lead to 10-0. over the Vikings. Let's take a look at both of these coaches in our coaches comparison. Love those sound effects there. Coach Rico Jackson in his first year at Murphy. Now he has an overall record, Corey, of 45-34 coming into the ball game with an overall 570 winning percentage. Led Aliceville Yellow Jackets to the 2A state title game back in 2016. And you can see where he graduated from. Coach Stan McCain on the other side, retired from the state of Mississippi. Great record there, 111-75. That's a 461 winning percentage. Just 6-7 here at his time here at MGM. Hobbies outside of work or hunting, pretty much, for Coach McCain. So he likes to go out and hunt.
He's hunting for panthers tonight here in Sims, Alabama, and so far he's not been able to come away with the type of kill that he would like on the scoreboard. But you look at this Viking team right here with an opportunity to respond with a positive offensive drive.
Penalty flags all over the field as the kickoff goes in the air, Corey. I think this one possibly could be a false start or legal procedure or something.
Offsides on the kickoff, and that's something that you really are not happy about if you're the special teams coaches over on the Murphy sidelines.
False start on the kicking team. Free kick.
We finally got some audio on Alan Duhan there, so he confirms what we thought it was, so that'll push the Panthers back about 5 yards. Shouldn't be a problem for their kicker. As I said, I saw him booming them from about 35, 40 yards out before the start of the game. We had the coaches comparison up there, Corey, and talked about the two coaches there. For Coach Rico Jackson, he's just maybe his first year as a head coach in our area, but he's been an assistant football coach for years. Down here, coached at Baker, Bryant, Satsuma, and he served on the last coaching staff at Shaw High School back in 2005. So he's quite familiar with Gulf Coast football down here in the Mobile area.
Not only that, just very familiar with the coaching tree that he has on his staff, as many of his assistants are neither networked through himself or his brother, who's also an assistant coach for him and is also the varsity boys basketball coach here at Murphy High School. So very interesting when you start looking at the coaching tree and just trying to find the right fit to bring it in your first year at Murphy High School.
Vikings first time touching the ball here in the second quarter. 11-14 remaining as we just get started in the second quarter. Murphy with a quick field goal to start things off. Hollins keeps it up the middle, but he doesn't go very far because he is wrapped up by the Panthers.
Good stop by Jabiron Nettles, the 6'2", 293-pound junior on the play. And Murphy's just trying to be real stingy and putting the Vikings at a disadvantage down and distance-wise. But when you look at Ashton Hollins, only a sophomore quarterback, just continues to need to be poised. He's going to make the throws that he needs to make, just has to be patient when making them.
Definitely a teachable moment for the Vikings tonight. Coach McCain told me before the ball game, asked him what did he want to see out of his team. He said, actually, I want to see us try to come from behind, keep our composure, win a game. Hollins trying to keep his composure, just hauls that one up, but that is picked off by the Panthers, bringing it down and on with the interception there. Isaac Williams. That's our 5th turnover of the ball game, Corey.
Again, just mentioned, the young fella just makes an ill-advised throw, trying to make something out of nothing. He rolls out of the pocket, kind of throws against his body. You look at him double clutch and double pump. You just throw that ball out of bounds at that situation. Don't throw that ball up for grabs. Give your wide receiver another down to try to catch that ball. Don't throw it up for grabs. Now you put Murphy in great field position again, taking over at the Vikings' 45-yard line.
Alex Howell coming into this game red hot, the player of the week, 1st and 10 player of the week at Fox 10, and the Friday Night Football Fever player of the week for WKRG. I hadn't seen a player grab both of them in the same week, Corey. And across the middle on another seam route, the Panthers are just running that one back to back to back. Touchdown to Adrian Milton. And the Panthers are trying to open this one up, Corey.
It's just straight go routes in that situation, Al. Adrian Milton, 6'2", 183-pound senior. There continues to be bust in the Vikings secondary. You look at Alex Howell just dropping back and just throwing it on a tight rope, and his wide receiver Milton does the rest. Yards after contact, creates another 6 points and a quick strike for the Murphy Panthers.
My name is Park.
Come bobble on for the PAT, and that is off, and that is no good. So we're going to take it to a break with Murphy up 16-0 over MGM. We'll be back with more action. Don't move.
My name is Harshini. I'm a junior at Davidson High School, and after graduation, I plan on pursuing a career in dermatology. Currently, I'm taking science classes such as AP Chemistry, Biology, and Human Anatomy, which will help me pursue my career. I feel as though Mobile County is preparing me for my career choice in that they provide rigorous classes that help me think further beyond just what I'm learning. I'm Harshini Cannon, a junior at Davidson High School, and I'm learning today so I can be a leader tomorrow.
We welcome you back to ES Grider Stadium. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Al Wheaton, Corley Bounty, joined by Kimberly Dunn on the sidelines, handling our stats for us tonight. China Powell as the ball falls off the tee, and Kambabala will have to tee it back up. Corey didn't get that PAT. They had a kind of a fumbled hold on the snap, and the ball actually got it up, but it went off one of the uprights. So did not get the PAT for the Panthers.
Well, sometimes that's the name of the game, and if we're at a 6-0 game, then I'm kind of worried if I'm on the Panthers coaching staff, knowing that an extra point can beat me. But when you have a 16-point cushion, you're okay with that.
Kambabala booms it down the middle as the Vikings bring it up. Great return right there from C.J. Wallace. Great field position for the Vikings, almost up to about the 34-yard line. So that pass from Howell to Milton was 35 yards right up the seam. We've seen that route a few times tonight, resulting in scores, Corey.
And again, you look at the MGM Vikings, I do believe they probably turned the ball over 4 times here in the first half, and that's just entirely too many to give your team an opportunity to try to have something productive. 10 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. You have to have a positive drive. Ashton Hollins just has to settle down and play through it.
Just to the left of him, Edrin Houston, as they hand it off to Houston up the middle. He picks up maybe 1 or 2. It's all about getting some confidence right now. You want to have a consistent drive, build the kids' confidence, but also work some of that clock down, too, for Coach McCain and the Vikings, Corey.
Yeah, you don't want to go into halftime trailing any more than you are right now. 16-0 our score with 9:30 remaining here in the second quarter. The Vikings, looking at second down and 7 yards to go, have had success throwing the intermediate routes.
Hollins on the keeper up the middle. Picks up maybe 2 or 3 as it'll take MGM to third down.
And I think that Murphy defense has figured out after the second drive of the Vikings that the quarterback draw is going to be irrelevant. Karan Marion, Trent Craig, and Jawan Manuel are staying home in their linebacker positions, not allowing that quarterback draw to be effective at all. He picks up maybe a yard and a half, going to bring up third down, and we'll call it 6 yards to go.
I'll go with a long 5 or 6. Ball almost at about the 40-yard line of MGM. 8:53 remaining in the first half. Blitz from the outside. They're going to run a screen as they do get it complete. MGM getting that ball out to Logan Tillman, the halfback. That's a first down as MGM moves into Murphy territory.
And I love the confidence maker that offensive coordinator Grady McCluskey gives to his young quarterback. You roll the pocket one way, you throw, and slipping out of the backfield is the H-backer fullback Logan Tillman. Makes the catch, rumbles for a much-needed first down for the MGM Vikings. Keeps the clock moving as well as the sticks with a fresh set of downs.
Big first down right there for MGM to pick up. Hollins on the keeper. He's got a lot of room. No flags, no holds. He picks up about 7 or 8. Maybe if he stretched out, he's a tall young man. Looks like about 8 yards on that pickup, Corey. Good play for the Vikings.
The quarterback draw right there was not called, but the RPO was. And again, I mentioned Ashton Hollins leading the Vikings team in rushing coming in tonight's contest through 3 weeks of football. And now it's going to bring up a second down and 3 yards to go. This is the type of down and distance that the Vikings want to establish themselves and keep the Panther defense on the field by continuing to move the sticks and move the chains and gaining first downs.
Right. Positive yard keeping in front of the sticks. Keeper once again takes it out of the belly of the back, but that's a no gain, so it'll be 3rd down and about 2 for MGM.
Jamari Butler, the 6'5", 217-pound senior. Diet no stat play, no gain on the play. You look at this situation now, 3rd down, 2 yards to go. You know the Vikings love to run that shotgun style offense, so you're already 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. If you put the big fullback in front of you, that gives you an opportunity to get a little momentum running the football.
I've heard a lot of commentators talk about this, a yard or 2 yards to go. You have a big, tall quarterback like that, just put him under center, let him go for it. But I think that's enough to get the 1st down. And I believe the chains are going to move here, Corey, from where I'm looking at atop the press box here. Should be a 1st down.
I love that hard run by Edrin Houston, the 5'7", 135-pound junior. Just needed 3 yards on the play, and I know that he picked it up. I'm looking to see what the delay is.
Right.
Looks
well,
like
there was a flag on the play on the far side, yeah, in front of the Murphy bench.
That sideline interference here. 1st down.
There it is, Corey. They had a warning earlier, and the flag comes out right there, but it's a 1st down, and they'll move the chains.
Murphy's got to move their get-back coach to make sure that the Panthers are not on that field of play when that ball is live, and now the officials are going to gather together to decide where they want to spot that football after the penalty.
Right, nothing was marked off. Where the ball is right now, that's where it appears Houston was tackled, but they need to possibly get this lined up for the Vikings. All right, I think we're good and ready to play here. 6:57 remaining in the 1st half. Some of the scores coming in. I was at that UMS Williamson game last night. Williamson takes the defeat, but Corey, they gave up the 14 points in the 1st half, so it was a scoreless 2nd half.
And that was a big-time shutout by Williamson's defense in the 2nd half. Had red zone opportunities, just weren't able to capitalize.
See if the Vikings can capitalize. Hand it off to Houston again. Up the middle, he bulls his way. Big 7-yard run for Edrin Houston.
But what you're seeing him do is secure the football with 2 hands. He's not holding that pigskin loosely. He's holding it very high and tight to his body, and he's gaining positive yardage on that situation as well.
Right. Hollins looking over to the sideline to get the call. Logan Tillman in his halfback position just in front of Hollins as they hand it off. No. Hollins going to keep it on the end around with a lot of room on the RPO keeper, Corey, and he's got the 1st down close to the 10-yard line, and the Vikings are in the red zone.
I love the call when he decides to pull it out of the running back's gut and keep it in himself. You look at cornerback Deshaun Brooks trying to make the stop on the play and is unable to do so. The Vikings continue to milk the clock, continue to get a fresh set of downs, and can also get a 1st down inside the red zone area before they score a touchdown.
That is true. They can pick up a 1st down. They do not have to score. It's not a 1st and goal situation here. 6:03 remaining in the 2nd quarter. That one's definitely to Houston as he goes up the middle just past the 5-yard line, getting closer to hitting pay dirt for the Vikings, down 16-0 in the 2nd quarter.
Heat timeout coming up, but that's a wonderful job by Jeffrey Chapman and Nick McCluskey on that right side of that offensive line, getting great push.
I believe we are going to have our heat timeout here, possibly, Corey, just waiting for head official Alan Duhan. All right, let's take it down to the sideline, check in once again with Kimberly Dunn.
It looks like both of these teams are finally starting to take care of that football a little bit. We are seeing some forward progress being made by these Vikings, and the Murphy Panthers had already been seeing some of that progress, and they seem to have a fire, and maybe now these Vikings are starting to get that fire as well. So hopefully we will see a really good rest of the competition.
Thank you, Kimberly. She just had to bring up fire. She used to twirl fire, Corey. I know she's a Vikings graduate, so just kind of putting on the spot tonight. But, yeah, they're definitely catching fire right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's important for this Viking to establish on this drive. But now they need to capitalize and score 6 as well as the extra point, because now you're going into the quarter, the end of the quarter. If you're able to put 7 points on this board, you're able to kind of reassess things at halftime. You get rid of that goose egg, but it's the hardest thing to do right down when you get down here to the 5-yard line. You don't want to bog down in the red zone area, because this drive started, you've been driving some 65 yards so far on this particular drive, so it's very impressive so far by the Vikings.
And you want to get a score because Murphy's going to get the ball in the second quarter. So you look at the situation now, you want to get points on the board because it's not guaranteed you will get the ball back before halftime. So while you're down here, you want to take advantage of the situation. Houston lining up behind Ashton Holland, second down. We'll call it about a long 3 yards here, Corey.
Carson Campbell, Patrick Horton, Carl Blankenship, Nick McCluskey, Jeffrey Chapman, the big fellas up front have to hit that push.
Holland's on the keeper. He's got room. Can he stretch it out and get to the end zone? Maybe just a big short. But it's enough for the first down. And, Corey, you called him out. The big uglies made room for him, and he got it up to just about maybe the 1 yard line there.
Vikings are starting to row the boat down the field. And, again, a great RPO, Ashton Hollins, trying to stretch across the goal line. First and goal now for MGM, needing just a couple of inches to score their first points of the night.
Vikings lining up with Houston in the backfield. Tillman just to the right. They give it to Houston. He goes over the top. And it's a touchdown for the MGM Vikings. They're on the board.
And that's huge with 5:18 remaining. Great push by the offensive line, making sure that they establish their first score of the night. Edrin Houston goes airborne and puts up 6 for the Vikings.
On for the PAT is Chris Brewer. High snap. Brewer gets his leg into it, and it is good. So it's 16-7. MGM on the board. More action headed your way. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
At Mobile County Public Schools, we believe it starts with us. That's why we offer Signature Academies.
Hello, I'm Jordan Clark, and I'm in the Health Service Academy at John L. LaFleur Magnet High School. My future career is to be an obstetrician gynecologist. With this academy, I'm learning firsthand from people already working in the industry. Shadowing them on the job really makes me want to study hard and work harder towards my career goals.
Signature Academies are open to all students in Mobile County Public High Schools. Visit mcpss.com.
Welcome back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. MGM on the board cuts the lead to 16-7 with 5:18 remaining in the second quarter. Corey, let's talk about the importance of getting a score right there for MGM, knowing that possibly they could not have gotten the ball back if Murphy drained this clock right here at 5:18 remaining.
Big scoring drive, 11 plays, 61 yards, took 9 minutes and 18 seconds off of the clock. That's just big time, went from one quarter into another with that drive. That's the type of offensive stability that Coach Stan McCain wanted to establish early in tonight's contest, but the Vikings got it on track that time and rode the boats to the end zone.
Big kick right there from Brewer. Darius Willer runs into one of his own teammates, and he is brought down. Murphy's going to take over ball about their own 28-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10.
Now, what has to happen now for the Murphy Panthers is they've had a lot of success with those seam routes. So on the flip side of that, the secondary for the Vikings and defensive coordinator for MGM, Jared Parton, has to make the adjustments because there's been bust in the secondary that allowed just a free release on a seam route, just a straight go route, and Alex Howell has been able to put the ball on the money for the Panthers. I would continue to go to the air if you're offensive coordinator Justin Thomas. Make the defense adjust to what's working for you so far.
Tanaka Scott lined up in the slot close to the lineman there, and they're going to continue to throw it. They're looking downfield. That one overthrown, 2nd down for the Panthers, but Tanaka Scott looked like he was open to me, Corey.
And again, if you're in the booth, you're calling down to offensive coordinator Justin Thomas and saying, hey, look, we've got the type of mismatch that we want on the bottom of your television screen. Tanaka Scott is in single coverage, and if Howell puts that ball on the money, Tanaka can catch that ball in stride and take it to the house for 6.
Second down for the Panthers, looking like they're continuing to air this one out. Howell on the roll, didn't pitch it out, he kept it, Corey. And boy, he had to take a dose of that Viking medicine as they brought him down.
Great stop by William Nunn, the 5'9", 165-pound senior. Had one solo tackle coming in on the season. Make that 2 solos by this young fellow as he diagnosed that play. Brings up 3rd down and 11 yards to go, putting the Panthers in a passing situation.
Decision time here for offensive coordinator Justin Thomas for the Panthers. Typically starts the game with his first 5 plays scripted, but you can't script this situation. 4:26 remaining in the second quarter, and you are backed up to about your own 28-yard line, trying to get it complete. Pressure's on Howell, he escapes. Trying to connect with someone, that ball is intercepted by the Vikings, but fumbled and dropped. Wow, Corey, Trey Umbarger with the interception, but he drops it. Did the Vikings recover after he dropped the ball?
I think they did, and it's a situation to where the Vikings have gotten this crowd back into it again. It's homecoming 2019, and with all the fans that are here on the Vikings stand side, you definitely want to give them something to be excited and cheer about, and that's the type of turnover. The first big mistake by the junior quarterback from Murphy High School. Probably should have went ahead and thrown that ball away as the Viking defender baited him to throw it. As we take a look at the replay, Howell rolls out to the right of the pocket, and as he continues to roll out, Al throws across his body into the Vikings defender, and they're able to pick it off and come away with a huge play.
Hand off to Edrin Houston, and he hits a wall as the Panthers push him back for a loss. Second down for MGM.
Swallowed up on the defensive play. Great job by the Murphy Panthers defensive line, and that will be big Kerry Jackson on the stop for the Murphy Panthers. 1-yard loss on the play for the Vikings.
I'm glad I have my statistician here, Corey, because my scratch paper is getting filled up. I have MGM with 3 turnovers, Murphy with 3 turnovers. I've lost count at this point. I don't know if I'm right or wrong anymore. Who knows, Corey? Who knows? Hollins rolling out, trying to connect with his receiver, and flags are coming out, and we know what that call is going to be. Tried to hook up with Cameron Lovelace, and I think the Panthers are going to be busted for some illegal contact right there.
A nice pass interference there. If you're Deshaun Brooks, you want to make sure that when you do make that play that he does not catch the football. So the flags came out, will cost you 15 yards in that situation, but you would rather give up the 15 instead of the automatic touchdown, because he was definitely beat on the play, and the referees were able to go ahead and throw that flag on the play. You know, you look at this Murphy Panther defense, giving up 19.7 points per game. Defensive coordinator Tellis Stone, he's also been a head coach.
Pass interference. Gets the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Well, it's second down, so it's actually second and about, Corey, I'm going to say maybe a half a yard possibly where the down marker is. And the first down, the line of game maybe just past the 10-yard line.
The way that they've been blocking up front, though, there's a lot of momentum going out of that offensive line.
Houston around the edge. He's got room, and he barrels in for, we'll call it an 11-yard touchdown for Edrin Houston for the MGM Vikings.
Great job of Carson Campbell, Patrick Horton, center Carl Blankenship getting that push on the left side of that line. As you look, nice and great job of Houston bouncing to the outside, goes in untouched. The momentum, Uncle Mo has showed up, and a trick two-point conversion.
Coach McCain, he is a shifty guy. He will call one on you. Chris Brewer, the kicker, threw that ball And flags went everywhere, Corey.
During the try, pass interference against the defense. Half the distance to the goal, replay the try.
So it wasn't against MGM, it was against Murphy. A year ago when they played Davidson, Coach McCain called a weird formation, something I have never seen. And Corey, it got so high, even some state officials were looking at the replay as to what they were trying to do last year.
Now you had an opportunity to where you've shown that trick play, so you have to put it back in your bag. The point after is good.
So MGM down 2 points right now, 16-14. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back. Boy, we're getting a good one right here. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
To getting your child through school, at times it can be overwhelming.
What school to choose, what classes to take, how to apply for college.
To help answer these questions and more, we would like to invite you to join us on Parent Connect as we take an in-depth look at some of the issues and concerns you may have about your child's education.
So get connected with Parent Connect, weekly right here on the MCPSS TV network.
For our executive producer, Quentin Howard, director Wade Ford, I'm Al Wheaton. Backed up by Corley Bounty down on the sidelines. We have Kimberly Dunn. That was Edrin Houston's second touchdown tonight. An 11-yard run gets the Vikings within 2 points, Corey, down 16-14.
Big time score for the Vikings here with 3:13 remaining in the second quarter. Now they just have Uncle Mo to show up here in their home field on homecoming, and let's see if they can capitalize.
Nice kickoff from Brewer right there. Panthers bringing it up and swinging it back around the other way as they're just running for the life, but they've got room. When we see plays like this, we know what can happen, but no penalty flags as Jacoby Jones gets a great return as he reverses field, but no flags on the play, Corey.
Yeah, that's probably, the coach is probably like, no, 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 yes, 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 because you reverse your field, and if the Vikings are running their lanes on special teams, he's not able to bounce that to the outside and break containment. So that's just a breakdown in special teams that gets the Panthers close to midfield, right at the 47-yard line of their own Murphy Panthers. Now they're in business, probably not looking to take the air out of this ball, but trying to find the success that they did on those seam routes.
We have seen them with quick strike ability in the first quarter, 2:58 remaining here in the half. Tanaka Scott lined up at the bottom of the screen, the little quick screen they're trying to set up. Scott blocking, but that play is going nowhere as they get it out to Aquarius Westry.
MGM in their 3-4 defense, defensive coordinator Jared Parton has made the adjustments that are necessary now because, again, those seam routes, looks like busted coverage earlier that led to a couple of Murphy Panther scores, but now 16-14, 2:31 remaining here in the second quarter. Second down and 10 yards to go for the Panthers. They can't afford to kill the clock and throw the ball and come away with the incompletion because the Vikings, I do believe, have a timeout remaining here in the half.
I believe you're correct, and it does look like Coach Jackson is draining a lot of the clock here. Ball snapped at 3 seconds left on the play clock. Darius Williams. Corey, look at that hole. I think you and I could have picked up a couple yards. Not that many, but that's a big 9-yard run for the Panthers. Don't forget at halftime, the Chick-fil-A halftime trivia challenge will be headed your way. We want to try to get us a winner. Corey, I know you like those multiple choice questions, so Kimberly Dunn will go into the stands and get a spectator and ask them a question, see if they get it correct, and she'll hook them up with a Chick-fil-A prize pack. Plus, we'll be featuring the bands as well during halftime here at ES Grider Stadium. And it's a big night. It is homecoming out here in Sim, so we saw a lot of the young ladies with their dresses on, the young men with their suits, but most importantly, Corey, you get to see the dads with their blazers and ties tonight.
And that's a situation to where the parents are very proud. We had that rain little scare earlier, and the umbrellas are not allowed into the stadium at this point in time, but it's all dried out here for the halftime festivities, homecoming 2019 here in Sims, Alabama.
Third down, let's say about a yard right there, maybe a half of a yard, just shy of getting the first down as the sticks come out for the measurement. 1:59 remaining here in the first half. And Howell looks like he's going under center for the snap. Panthers lining up in a power I formation here, Corey. Something we rarely see in high school football. They give it to the up back, Kid Bryant, and he is pushed back.
And looking where the line judge is marking, it looked like he's going to have enough
so
for that.
Progress. I wonder if we'll get another measurement here as the official is all the way inside the hash marks calling for stoppage. They're going to bring out the sticks again, Corey.
Yeah, I think that it's very close. Forward momentum where that line judge probably took it from will probably give them a fresh set of downs with 1:33. But Coach Rico Jackson got off to the fast start that he needed.
And they are short, Corey. They are short. Decision time here. The Panthers sitting in no man's land. I think we know what the call is going to be. At media days, Coach Jackson told us the way he has the philosophy, if he could run it every play, he'd run it. And no surprise here, they're going back to that same formation.
Just don't want to create a penalty here on 4th down and short.
Howell just pushing it across the line along with his back helping him out, Rayshawn Kid Bryant, with the old lineman push there, Corey.
You'll take all the help you can get to give you that fresh set of downs. Again, an outstanding push by the offensive line, helping them out. Running backs, quarterbacks, everybody's giving that old push. It's a tug of war down at the line of scrimmage, but 1st and 10 for the Panthers.
All right, offensive coordinator Justin Thomas, he's got the mind, the wheels rolling here. Triple receivers and a stack set to the top. The Panthers are trying to get a score. 1 minute remains here in the second quarter. Up the middle goes Alex Howell. Middle is open when you put those receivers out like that. Howell picks up maybe 6 or 7, and the clock continues to run. I think the Panthers might have one timeout remaining, but we have a hurt Viking down on the play. Number 5, Eric Mills. And the training crew is going to come out and take a look at him.
Yeah, it's one of our first stoppages of play of the night for any type of prolonged period of time. But 48.7 seconds remaining here in the second quarter, Al. It's going to be interesting to see here with this injury timeout how the Vikings and the Panthers are going to make adjustments in the second half.
Don't forget at halftime, the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge is headed your way. I wonder what question Kimberly Dunn is going to ask tonight. She'll pick a spectator out in the stands and ask them that question with a couple answers, multiple choice. If they get it correct, she'll take care of them with the Chick-fil-A prize pack. It's the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge. And I know that everyone in the crew, in the truck, likes to watch the cow right there do the dance. So the cow will come out and do the dance at halftime. So stick around for that, Corey. So Mills being escorted off the field right now. They can get him to the locker room early and take a look at him. Hopefully the young man will be able to come back in the second half and compete. So that stoppage in play gives both teams maybe a little strategy session on the sideline, but actually we have a timeout that has been called by Murphy, Corey. Coach Rico Jackson decided to burn a timeout right there and let his offensive coordinator draw up something. 48.7 seconds remaining here in the half. At the start of the offset of the broadcast, Corey, you said maybe a low-scoring affair, and it kind of looked like it was going to start off that way. But then late in the first quarter, second quarter, we've had some points eventually come out of a lot of those turnovers we've had tonight. 16-14, Murphy on top.
The Vikings here in the second quarter, late in the first quarter, early in the second quarter, really established their will at the line of scrimmage offensively, rushing the football. But right here, the Panthers, it'll be interesting to see if they want to continue to run this football, something you mentioned Coach Rico Jackson likes to do.
Howell sets up the screen, trying to connect with Tanaka Scott, and that ball is incomplete, knocked down by the Vikings, taking Murphy to third down.
Great play by C.J. Wallace, the 6', 175-pound senior cornerback. Had 3 solo tackles coming in to this contest and does a great job of knocking the football away. making sure that he diagnosed it correctly. 42.9 seconds now, Al, remaining before we go to halftime. 3rd down and 3 yards to go for the Murphy Panthers.
I will say with that shower that came in earlier, Corey, the humidity has actually died down. Really cool night here for some, and literally cool for some high school football out in Sims. Howell pitches it out to Theris Wheeler, trying to get to the line to gain. I believe it was about the 35-yard line, maybe the 30-yard line, but does he get out of bounds? That does stop the clock at 37.2 seconds. St. Paul's on top of Blount right now, 14-0. That's a big 6A Region 1 matchup. They're playing that ball game at St. Paul's. And we're going to get a measurement here, Corey. Officials timeout. If the Panthers don't have enough, it would be 4th down for them in decision time for Coach Jackson once again.
Going to mark him a little bit short, 1 yard short, 37.2 seconds. I know you don't punt this football away. No. You don't attempt close to a 50-yard, 52-yard field goal. I would not think you don't want to risk it being blocked.
Yeah, I think we're just outside of the range for Kambabala.
Yeah, you don't want to risk that being blocked. So you pick up the 1st down right here, and you have the clock continue to roll.
Same formation we've seen. Howell under the center. Hands it off to Wheeler. Instead of going north-south, he is forced outside east-west, and that goes nowhere, Corey. That direction equals ball over on downs to the Vikings.
Carrick Bumpers with a big-time stop for the Vikings as they're getting ready to enter the half. The 6'1", 234-pound senior from his defensive end position comes away for his 2nd tackle for loss of the season.
I think this may be the situation where we'll see possibly Max Pardon come in, but no, does not. They're going to stick with Hollins. Guess we're a bit too far under 2 minutes to bring Pardon in, so 30.5 seconds here. And it appears as if Coach McCain is just going to take a knee and go to the locker room down 2 points. So I think experience comes out on top there, Corey. They're just going to take it to the locker room and regroup and get ready for the second half. Murphy on top 16-14 over MGM.
Yeah, that's a big-time stop. Again, momentum in the favor of the Vikings going in here to the half. 2018 homecoming here in Sims, Alabama.
Vikings down by 2 points. We're going to try to get down to the field and check in with Kimberly Dunn. I know she's trying to get with one of the coaches to get some comments here, but interesting first half we have seen so far, Corey. A lot of turnovers, 3 for each team. Unreal. I literally ran out of my scratch paper trying to keep up with the turnovers I had.
Al, it's Friday the 13th.
It is.
Maybe some of these teams are spooked by the turnovers in that situation. There's a full moon tonight, homecoming 2019
We
out
had
here.
rain earlier.
We had rain earlier. So, again, I know both teams just want to clean up the turnover situation. That's been the storyline for both of these teams here in the first half of action. If you can get away, I know we'll go back to my checklist a little later on, but so far, when you look at the pattern of this game, I didn't expect there to be over 30 points scored by either one of these teams, but the rushing game has really cranked up for the Vikings in the second quarter, which is instrumental to what Stan McCain's strategy is in today's contest.
All right, let's take it down to the field. Kimberly Dunn has Murphy head coach Rico Jackson.
Coach, how do you feel about your team's performance so far tonight?
We started out well, but we got to learn how to handle success. I mean, I talked about earlier about the turnovers, and, I mean, you can't be anybody with turnovers. So we got to clean that up, and they kind of gassed us on defense second quarter, so we'll get it correct.
So what are some things your team needs to improve on in order to secure tonight's win?
Just learn how to handle success, and when you get a lead, finish. And right now we're not finished.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kimberly. That's something Coach Jackson talked to us about. He's not trying to rebuild. He's trying to win now. He wants these kids to get rings right now, Corey.
Yeah, you're in a situation now to where this is a pivotal 7A Region 1
It
matchup, and who makes the playoffs are at stake in your seeding. So leading 16-0, you get caught looking at that scoreboard a little bit early. Coach talked about playing with success and through success. So that's something that here in the second half, it's anybody's contest to win.
All right, don't move. Halftime is headed your way. It's homecoming here at MGM. Plus, we're going to have the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge. Don't move. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Hello, I'm Renee Phillips, your host of Homeroom. Will you join us as we talk with the students, teachers, and staff about all of the great things happening in our schools?
That's right, Renee. Not only are we here to keep you informed about the great things happening in our schools, but to also keep you updated on safety issues.
Our show, Safe Schools, looks at ways to keep your child and our students safe.
Not only are we looking at ways to keep your child and our students safe, but to keep you informed on how to connect with us.
Manténgase informado aquí en Conexión a Padres.
And we also score big from pre-K to high school with MCPSS Athletics.
And then Inside Education puts it all together for you, showing you the ins and outs about news and events taking place across the Mobile County Public School District. We do this to keep you informed.
My name is Harshini. I'm a junior at Davidson High School, and after graduation, I plan on pursuing a career in dermatology. Currently, I'm taking science classes such as AP Chemistry, Biology, and Human Anatomy, which will help me pursue my career. I feel as though Mobile County is preparing me for my career choice in that they provide rigorous classes that help me think further beyond just what I'm learning. I'm Harshini Cannon, a junior at Davidson High School, and I'm learning today so I can be a leader tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Todd.
And I'm Terry, and we'd like to invite you to join us as we take a look at nature in ways that you've never seen before.
Come travel with us as we go coast to coast to uncover some of the most interesting animals.
And some of the most beautiful scenery that's offered outdoors.
You can join us on our nature adventures right here on the MCPSS TV network.
We welcome you back to halftime here at the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. I'm Al Wheaton, joined by Corley Bounty. Atop the press box at E.S. Grider Stadium, it is homecoming here for the MGM Vikings. So before we take it down to the field, let's take a look at some of the stats, Corey. Here's my cheat sheet, and it is full of writing, but you have the exact numbers that China Powell gave us from the stats tonight.
Yeah, you're looking at the rushing yards. MGM was 77 yards. Coach mentioned being gashed in the second quarter. Murphy only has 24. The passing yards definitely in favor of the Panthers. Those two scores early, 185 passing yards to 27 for MGM. Total yards, Murphy has outgained MGM 209 to 104. Turnovers, 6 total turnovers, 3 apiece by both of these teams. The penalty yardage has kind of been neutralizing one another also. 3 penalties for 35 yards for the Panthers, 4 for 35 for the Vikings, and we're due for a wonderful second half of action here at Homecoming 2019.
Murphy on top 16-14. When we came out of the first quarter, we saw that Murphy had no penalties, so by the second quarter they picked up 3. Let's take it down to the field. It is homecoming here for the MGM Vikings.
Emma enjoys soccer and hopes to play for the Lady Vikes soccer team. After graduation, Emma plans to earn a degree in animal science from Auburn University. She hopes to work as a bovine embryologist. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Emma Wiggins. Our first sophomore maid is Miss Nykyla Quinney. Nykyla is the daughter of Cynthia Quinney and Maurice Davis. Nykyla's escort tonight is her father. Nykyla loves being involved in MGM's track program. She would like to one day become a traveling nurse. Her grades are very important, and she would like to finish school as valedictorian. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Nykyla Quinney.
You're watching halftime ceremonies here at MGM. We'll be back with the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge. Don't move.
Our next sophomore maid is Miss Gracie Tanner.
Want to find out which Mobile County high school is right for you? Join us on Tuesday, September 24th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the USA Mitchell Center for our Signature Academy Showcase. The event is open to all 7th and 8th graders and parents. Representatives from all 12 high schools will be on hand to talk about our academies. Whether it's aviation, engineering, or healthcare, there's hundreds of career options to choose from. So join us on Tuesday, September 24th for our Signature Academy Showcase. At Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today, leading tomorrow.
A teacher is one of the biggest investors in a community.
They impact the lives of those we value the most.
Teachers share knowledge which helps shape and mold our future leaders.
Teachers show direction and help build a sense of purpose. Are you ready to make a change? For more information on teaching opportunities, teacher incentives, or to apply with the Mobile County Public Schools, log on to www.mcpss.com.
Each month, more than 90 guns are reported stolen from unlocked vehicles, creating the potential of serious injury or death.
Lock it up.
Many violent acts and crimes are committed with stolen guns.
Lock it up.
According to ATF, stolen guns pose a substantial threat to public safety.
Lock it up.
Be responsible. Take time to record your handgun serial number and secure it from thieves. Lock it up.
Lock it up for me.
So are you ready for a career change or looking to make a change in a young person's life? Well, Mobile County Public Schools is looking for you. There are currently several openings for teachers to fill classroom vacancies, and there are multiple pathways making it easier than ever to become a teacher. Whether you have a calling or desire to teach, there is room for you within Mobile County Public Schools. We now introduce you to one teacher who would like to share her story.
I came from a family of educators. My mom, my sisters, my aunts. I have a lot of family members in education, and it was always something that they came home and talked about, so I've always had a desire to do the same thing. I have always wanted to teach. More importantly, I was an athlete and I wanted to coach, so that kind of put the nail on the head as far as, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to go work with young people, especially adolescents. I knew high school was the level that I really wanted to work with. Codons, every 3 letters on messenger art. With me being from out of town or out of state, Louisiana, coming into Mobile County, and I always felt at home. I feel like all the people in Baker and in Mobile County in general, the Human Resource Department, the whole transition coming in here was very warm and welcoming. I immediately felt like I was part of the family. I wasn't an out-of-towner, because a lot of people who graduate within Mobile County come back and work within Mobile County. So it was very comforting for me to know that someone that did not go to school here could come in, with open arms and transition very easily. I would definitely recommend Mobile County to those about to graduate in education. We have a very warm family atmosphere. We all work together. One of the things that I love about Mobile County that I didn't get in my last school system is the cooperative teaching that we do. So you never feel like you're doing it alone. We team up with other teachers that are teaching the same subject area, and we plan together, we work together, we brainstorm together. And so, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's truly a team effort.
My first year working with Mobile County so far, it's been really good, as well as challenging, because it's my first year and I'm still learning how to do things, what to do as a first year teacher. So I'm learning new tricks and strategies that hopefully I will be better at next year. So it's just been a little bit challenging as a first year teacher. It is very scary coming in as a first year teacher, because you go to college and they teach you these things, and you go field experience in other classes, but you're always with another teacher. It's not your very own classroom. The administrative support is pretty good here as well. Our administration does support us. If we need anything, they don't hesitate to help us. So there's some administration support here as well that helps along with your grade level support. I do like that it's very close to the beach. I was from the Bayou, and that was only like a 15-20 minute drive from Dauphin Island, so the beach was right there. I do like the downtown area and also this is the birthplace of Mardi Gras, so I do like that too. There's Christmas parades, Mardi Gras parade, just a lot of things to do and a lot of activities to do here. I would recommend Mobile County Schools for someone who's searching because I believe it's a really good school system. You have support, you have so many resources, especially within Mobile County, to help you, and they have the first year teacher training as well, which kind of helps you get into teaching.
The reason why I started teaching was because I knew that I wanted to inspire children, and at a very early age as a child, I knew that teaching was my calling. The reason I chose Mobile County was because this is my home, not to mention that E.R. Dixon was also my home place to start my education as a child. So I wanted to give back to my community. As far as being a new teacher in Mobile County, I know especially here at E.R. Dixon, you will get professional development, you'll have a mentor, and you'll have plenty of people that you can lean on, administration, coaches, math and reading coaches, intervention teachers that will all help you. And you'll be working as a team to make sure that children are successful. I received professional development. I also had a mentor when I started teaching. In addition, I had my grade level, so I could ask plenty of questions to all the time, whether it be over the weekend or first thing in the morning. I definitely think that we as Mobile County do a wonderful job of providing the support that you need as a new teacher, professional development, whether it be co-workers, mentors, you have a team all the time to help you and guide you through teaching. It makes you feel like you have your place, you have your home. And here I'm already at home, but just to know that when you come here, you have a second family. I'm excited to be a part of Mobile County. Every morning when I wake up, I'm so excited to get to school. And the most important thing is just to see my children and laugh with them and know that we're not just helping that child learn Common Core or Wonders or whatever the program is that we're following, but helping them to grow as an individual. Because these kids are going to be, whether they're here in Mobile County or in another state, we want them to be true examples of leaders and successful and responsible citizens. And when people say, where did you go to school? Mobile County.
If you're looking to make that change, log on to mcpss.com and get that fresh start. We'll be back with the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge. It's halftime here. Don't move.
Parents, will your child be 4 years of age on or before September 1st, 2020? If so, mark your calendar for this January for pre-K open enrollment. In order to enroll your child, you must complete the online pre-K registration. For a complete list of pre-K sites as well as screening information and selection dates, visit mcpss.com. For your chance to be a part of Alabama's first-class pre-K program, log on this January. In Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today, leading tomorrow.
From birth up until school age, you know, he was a fast developer, fast learner. He was always a happy person. Every time you seen him, he had a smile on his face. The day I lost my son, I got that phone call. It was like my whole world just stopped. All I wanted to do was see my son, and I wasn't able to see my son until I had to go to the funeral homes. I think that was one of the hardest things that a parent has to do.
It is time for the Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge. Let's take it into the stands with Kimberly Dunn. We have some technical difficulties. Let's take it down to the field as they crown the homecoming queen.
On behalf of Mary G. Montgomery High School, I would like to thank you for attending Homecoming 2019. This week has truly been out of this world.
All right, Corey, we are back atop the press box here at E.S. Grider Stadium. Had some technical difficulties trying to get down with Kim, but you can see the excitement is homecoming night. They're playing the fight song, Go Vikings Go.
Skull Vikings in the late first quarter status and early in the second quarter. MGM, you look at my checklist here to begin the game. MGM must maintain momentum on offense. They were able to do that in a 9-minute drive, Al, which was huge for the Vikings that put their first points on the board. They were able to establish that running game, and that was big time for head coach Stan McCain. They have to believe they can finish strong. None more important words spoken here in the second half. Trailing 16-14, they have to finish strong because they're trailing here by 2. They have to focus through the distractions. What distractions were those? Trailing 16-0 were the MGM Vikings. Homecoming 2019 now is over on the field. Now they must take care of it between the lines, find a way to go ahead and push through. You look on the other side, the flip side of that with the Murphy Panthers, they had to control the plus-minus game. Well, at the beginning of the contest, Al, we had 4 turnovers before our first score.
Unreal.
We have 3 turnovers apiece by both teams, so the Vikings have an opportunity to go ahead and control the plus-minus game that the Panthers needed to do on my checklist. You look, the Panthers have to be poised to produce points early. They did that, Al, leading 16-0. Sure, but now coach has to have them to finish strong because they've got off to slow starts. Now let's see if they can finish the way that they started as well. Playing with that Panther pride, we saw that exhibited in the first half. By leading 16-0, now they just have to finish with that Panther pride as well.
You talked about that Panther pride finishing. Looking at the scoring recap, Alex Howell, 2 touchdowns tonight, 76-yarder to Theris Wheeler, 35-yarder to Adrian Milton, and Reston Kambabala tacks on a 29-yard field goal. That equals 16 points. And for MGM, it's all Edrin Houston, a 1-yard touchdown run and an 11-yard touchdown run. He picks up 2 scores tonight, Corey. Coach McCain told me before the contest he wanted to see his guys come from behind tonight, and I was a bit surprised because they've been in the lead in a lot of their games so far this season, and they're getting tested right now.
Yeah, again, this is a pivotal 7A Region 1 matchup. You cannot afford to drop tonight's contest because later on down the season, week 9 and 10, you're going to be looking back at the coulda, woulda, shoulda games. You mentioned at the top of the broadcast the very close games that MGM was involved in 1 year ago. Stan McCain has over 35 seniors on this roster who have gotten a lot of reps throughout their varsity time as part of this team. So we want to see if those reps will pay off here in the second half for the Vikings, all the experience that they have under what Coach Stan McCain is expecting here in Homecoming 2019 for the MGM Vikings.
And you hit it on the head, Corey. It is important now, but what happens down the line? Example for Murphy, they have a bye next week, and then they have Viger, but after that, they have 3 in a row. Theodore, Davidson, and Baker back to back. So this is a big game for both these teams tonight. We're going to take a quick break and come back with second half action. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
At any given time, trauma can happen.
And how we deal with it.
And how we make peace with it.
Starts with me.
With Project Thrive, I'm taking the pledge.
I pledge to believe and support others experiencing trauma.
Will you join Project Thrive and its team of partners who are working together to address issues of trauma? Take the pledge, take a stand, and let's make Mobile a trauma-informed community.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Is she gonna get it, Daddy?
She'll get it. Get it. Get it.
When you bring home a Goodwill find, you give your whole town a reason to celebrate because you're also funding local job training and placement programs in tech, healthcare, and more. Goodwill. Bring good home.
I'm Bailey Buck. I attend MGM High School. Here I'm pursuing my career in the dental industry. I'm currently enrolled in honors classes that will help prepare me for my future. My name is Bailey Buck. I am preparing for tomorrow today.
Hello, I'm Helena Tyler. I would like to invite you to join me for Inside Education. Come with us as we take a look at what's happening around Mobile County Public Schools, as well as what's happening in your child's classroom. That's Inside Education, right here on the MCPSS TV network.
Welcome back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Al Wheaton, Corey LeBounty down on the sidelines, Kimberly Dunn. And Corey, we are ready for the second half kickoff. Murphy receiving the ball.
Some people already in second half action. Daphne leading BC Reigns 17-0. St. Paul's leading Blunt 14-0 in the third quarter. Viger over Satsuma 27-0 at the half as well.
Appreciate that, Corey, with those score updates. Back to receive the ball from Murphy, Theris Wheeler, and Javante Carter. Chris Brewer handling the kicking duties for the Vikings. Puts a little air under this one. And the Panthers bringing it up to about the 29, maybe 30-yard line. And we'll get our first look at them in the third quarter.
You know, it's a situation where in the first week, Murphy was trailing Baldwin County late in the game and were able to create turnovers to find a way to win that contest. And then you look a week ago, trailing 24-6 against a great Fairhope Pirate team. Murphy found a way to win as well. So both of these teams are used to fighting from behind, as evident by this 16-14 score. MGM was down 16-0, now only trailing by 2. It's going to be an outstanding second half of action here on MCPSS Television Network.
Triple stack receivers at the bottom, double at the top. Howell in the backfield by himself. Taking the snap. And he's got a man wide open and connects with Dequarius Westry. And Corey, he is headed to the end zone. Quick strike ability. Can he maintain? That is a touchdown for the Murphy Panthers. 70 yards from Howell to Westry.
And it's a situation to where it was just like in the first quarter, a busted coverage. The Vikings thought they had help over the top. None was there. You look at the replay, Alex Howell just goes to his secondary read, sees that there's no help. It's pitch and catch, folks, at that point in time. Westry's off to the races. 6 more quick points for the Murphy Panthers to open up the second half of action here in Sims, Alabama.
Kambabala on for the point after, gets it up. And just that quick, Murphy has extended their lead 23-14. We will be back with more action. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
As a student in the Mobile County Public Schools, there are a few things I've come to expect. One is a quality education, and the other is a quality lunch. Not only are our school meals well-balanced, meeting all federal nutritional standards, but they also have less fat, fewer calories, and they taste really good. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our school lunches contain whole wheat, grains, fruits, and vegetables to give me the energy and brain power to get me through the day.
You are watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Quick strike from the Murphy Panthers on their first play of the second half. 70-yard touchdown pass from Alex Howell to DeQuarius Westry. That is Howell's third touchdown, Corey.
One play, 20 seconds, 7 points on the board for the Panthers.
Kickoff from Murphy goes into the end zone for a touchback. And there is the quick strike ability of Alex Howell and the Panthers. And Corey, oh, by the way, he's just a junior.
Yeah, that's a big-time throw and catch. But again, you go back to the secondary issues. You thought the Vikings had worked them out in the first quarter as the seam route was the go-to play. But again, I like the reads that Alex Howell made in that situation. Went through his progression, saw the second one, looked off the first receiver, saw the streaking wide receiver, 6 points on the board because he went through his progressions correctly.
You nailed it right on the head there, Corey Bounty. Great job by the young man. 1st and 10 here for the Vikings. Hollins hands off to Houston, and that's a fumble. Let's see if he got back on top of it, but the Panthers are saying they have it, and Corey, that is our 7th turnover of the ball game.
The Panthers pounce on the pigskin, and that's something that I just mentioned in my checklist, that they wanted to control the plus-minus. You look at the instant replay in that situation, never a clean handoff. The pigskin hits the grass, and I tell you what, the Panthers were able to be Johnny on the spot, almost in the red zone area already of the Vikings, have an opportunity to score twice here within the first minute of the 3rd quarter. Not the type of start that the Vikings wanted to come out of the locker room with.
Not at all. Ball is sitting at about the 13-yard line, and the Panthers offense back on the field once again. Howell rolling out to his right and just rolls out of bounds. Maybe the play would have been to throw that away. That's going to be a big loss for the Panthers, taking them to 2nd down.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Alex Howell decided to eat the football instead of throw it away. He possibly could have thrown that football but didn't want to go ahead and throw a turnover or an interception, so he decided to run out of bounds. Did not gain any yardage on the play. As a matter of fact, lost probably 4 to 4.5 yards, going to bring up 2nd down and 15 yards to go for the Panthers.
Ball sitting at the MGM 21-yard line as Howell looking over to the sidelines to get the call. Big shout out to our guys in the truck, Mr. Fran and Mr. Bruce, taking care of us tonight, making sure everything is up and running and tight, Corey. Snap to Alex Howell, trying to set the screen up. No one is there. Well, possibly, I guess you could say in the vicinity was Rayshawn Kid Bryant. No flags for grounding coming out, Corey.
Yeah, it's a situation to where the floodgates were open by that offensive line to set up the screenplay and just couldn't get turned around, and the timing was just a little bit off.
Right.
But again, 23 to 14, our new score with 11:20. It brings up 3rd down, and we'll call it 14 yards to go for the Panthers, knocking on the red zone door of the Vikings. The Vikings need to be skull strong right here.
3 receivers split wide at the top. Tanaka Scott in the middle. Howell trying to get this ball out to his receiver. That's a 50-50 up in the air ball. And they're going to call that an interception in the end zone. Looks like C.J. Wallace came down with it, Corey.
I love the fact that C.J. Wallace timed it, grabbed it at its apex. It was the 6'2" Adrian Milton and the 6' C.J. Wallace on a one-on-one battle. You're on an island. You have to go get that young fella, and he does. It's going to be a touchback. Another turnover on the board, as I do believe that's our 8th combined turnover in the contest. Now it's 1st and 10 Vikings, with them trying to go ahead and establish the running game. We saw them do that early in the second quarter, late in the first. Going to be pivotal for them to do that again to have a chance.
Howell had a little air under that one, but the key, I believe, was the positioning that Wallace did, Corey. So great run right here by Edrin Houston around the edge. And Wallace gets in the front of Milton and grabs that football. So turnover there and a good run for Houston. I believe that's enough to get the first down. Officials are stopping to take a look at it, but from where we are, our vantage point, they're going to move the chains. That's the first down for the Vikings.
I love the push by Carson Campbell, Patrick Horton, Carl Blankenship on the left side of that line, allowing Houston to bounce to the outside, because we saw him score a 10-yard touchdown run on that similar play bouncing to the outside, but positive yards, picking up a fresh set for the Vikings.
So Murphy cannot capitalize and get points off that turnover early in the third quarter. That was the first time MGM had touched the ball. On that touch, Houston goes up the middle, and he is touched by a few Panthers.
Karan Marion is the one who goes ahead and delivers that punishing hit in the hole. The 5'10", 210-pound senior impact player, leading tackler for the Murphy Panthers, getting it done. Make that close to his 26th tackle on the season, and only 2 yards gained by the Vikings.
Second down and about 8 here for the Vikings. Houston just to the left in the backfield with Ashton Hollins. Fumble snap. Hollins trying to move. Looked like he was trying to throw it away, Corey. The young man's got to get down, got to protect the pigskin. You don't want to have another fumble. And Alan Duhon is going to mark him down at about the 21-yard line with a loss there on the play.
Jawan Manuel comes up with his 2.5 sack of the season, and that's a big tackle for loss as he continues to push the Vikings back to their own 22-yard line, and that's a big stop. But you're absolutely right. Ashton Hollins has to cover up that football, because it looks like he was going to try to throw it. And sometimes being under the situations, it can slip away from you, but you just want to go ahead and cover it up, take the sack, live to play another play, give your punter an opportunity to get you out of this hole.
Houston with the run up the middle. Gets to about the 25-yard lines as scores continue to come in on our ticker right there. Viger on top of Satsuma 27-0. McGill Tulin still on top of Davidson 14-6. You talked about it earlier. Daphne over Rain 17-0 right now. 8:54 remaining here in the contest. That was third down, so the Vikings will be punting. Theris Wheeler setting up at his own 44-yard line, anticipating this punt from Brewer.
Brewer, the 6'2", 145-pound junior, has had some high arcing punts. Nice hang time on his kicks.
That was another great punt right there from Brewer. And Wheeler does a smart thing and gets away from it. And you can see Xavier Dixon kind of sits on his bottom cord so the ball doesn't hit him, because if it had, that would have been a live ball.
It's one of those situations to where the returner yells fire, 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 meaning fall down or get away from the football. But when you're blocking, you don't know where that football is, so your best bet is to just fall to the ground, hoping it doesn't touch you and become a live ball. Again, a great hang time by Chris Brewer, is able to flip the field. The Vikings were down in their own territory, and now they put the Panthers close to their own 30. So a great job of the Vikings being able to recover and get something, not any points on the board out of that turnover, but flip the field with a great punt.
Coming up around the corner, got your game of the week, Brain Buster. We're going to see if Corey can get his thinking cap on tonight. We weren't able to get the Chick-fil-A halftime trivia challenge on, but we will get that game of the week, Brain Buster, on later on here in the third quarter. Alex Howell going up the middle for a run. Corey, let's go back to that turnover. You just talked about it. Murphy gets the ball, great field position, and it kind of seemed as if they kind of maybe overthought some things when you're just maybe 20, 21 yards away from the end zone, and then they end up throwing an interception.
Well, it's a situation to where you want execution in that type of area, and you didn't have it on that possession by the Panthers. Now they're having an opportunity in their own territory to try to right that wrong as they're going 5 wide.
Second down at about 4 here. And up the middle once again, trying to reach Tanaka Scott. That ball's incomplete. Howell just kind of floated it up there. Scott's a tall guy. He could have brought it in, but he stretched out and gave it all he could, but could not snag the reception.
We saw them score on that play a little bit earlier, but much better job by the defenders of MGM to make sure that they weren't going to score the exact same way. No gain on that. Going to bring up another down and distance situation for the Murphy Panthers.
Third down, and the Panthers looking over to offensive coordinator Justin Thomas, awaiting that call. 20 seconds remaining here on the play clock. Early score from the Panthers on their first play from scrimmage in the third quarter. 70-yard touchdown pass to Westry from Howell. And that big run from Theris Wheeler, Corey, as he turned the corner, got outside the numbers, and takes it past the midfield stripe.
Give credit to blocker Rayshon Kidd Bryant, making sure that the defense of the Vikings was not able to get to the outside. And once you lose containment on a runner like that, you're going to have a lot of yardage that's going to allow the Panthers to gash this Viking defense. Adjustments are going to have to be made. If you don't, Murphy's going to continue to run to the same side of the football, with the football.
1st and 10, ball at the midfield stripe. Hand off to Theris Williams. Up the middle he goes for about a 4-yard gain as the Panthers climb back into Vikings territory once again. It'll be 2nd down and about 6.
Cedric Davis on the stop for the Vikings, the 5'10", 175-pound junior defensive end. 2nd down, 6 yards to go now for the Panthers as they're leading 23-14 over the Vikings.
Aquarius Restry at the bottom of the screen here, close to us, with Tanaka Scott in the slot. They hand it off to Williams again, and Corey, he's got a lot of green grass on the move up to about the 18-yard line as he is bounced out of bounds, and that is inside the red zone, but a flag on the play at about the 40-yard line.
And he was able to bounce to the outside because there was a holding that took place on that interior line. C.J. Wallace was there to push him out of bounds. Even if he would have taken it to the house, the Panthers staff would be very sick at their stomach because that would have been brought back. So it is good that he did get pushed out of bounds.
Holding against the offense, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Look at that replay as the interior holding takes place. He was able to bounce to the outside. The big fella, I do believe it was number 58, that got caught on the play. That's Douglas Boyce, the 6'3", 277-pound junior. It's hard to miss you when you're weighing 277 out there, nowhere to hide.
Hey, Corey, that line averages 263, so it's a lot of beef on there. 2nd down where the spot of the foul occurred. It's going to be about 2nd and 11 for the Murphy Panthers. Ball trying to get out to Tanaka Scott. A bit behind him, Corey, but he possibly slipped as well. So 3rd down for the Murphy Panthers.
Quarterback Alex Howell hits himself on the head, wanting that throw back, because if he catches Tanaka Scott in stride, you just said it, that's 6 points on the board for the Panthers. But it's right there in the middle of the field, in between the hash marks, is where Murphy has had a lot of success, not necessarily throwing to the boundaries, but in between those hash marks is where Howell has found the soft spots in the secondary of the Vikings.
3rd and 11 here for the Panthers once again. Fake the handoff, little play action, and the heat is on Howell. He's rolling out to his left. And that pass incomplete, trying to connect with Theris Wheeler. It'll push Murphy to 4th down. And if I'm correct, Corey, I believe this will be the first punt for the Panthers tonight.
Jeremy Washington trying to slip out of the backfield up against the sidelines with really nowhere to go. Again, you're right. You're going to see Tanaka Scott.
Tanaka Scott, our first time seeing him punt tonight.
But if C.J. Wallace catches this cleanly, we've seen a lot of turnovers, but he has a lot of speed. So if you're Tanaka Scott, you hope not to kick it directly at the returner.
Under 10 remaining here on the play clock. And Scott is waiting for the snap. Bit low, but he gets it off, shanks it off his right foot a bit. Still inside the hash marks. And the Vikings get away from it, and Murphy's going to down it at the 22-yard line at the 6:18 mark of the third quarter.
That's exactly where we saw them punt the ball away from just moments ago on that last drive. Chris Brewer was able to kick the ball, and I think we're going to take our heat timeout.
I believe we're at the discretion of head official Alan Duhan. We're going to take the heat timeout at 6:18. And let's take a look at some standings here throughout the region here in Lower Alabama. 4A Region 1, we'll take a look at some standings right there. UMS Wright, 3-0 overall. They had the victory last night over Williamson, 14-0. Escambia County, Hillcrest, and Williamson all sitting right there in 4A Region 1. Let's flip it over and go to Region 5A. We know Viger's on top of Satsuma right now. We saw the score in that ball game earlier. Faith Academy undefeated on the season, and Jackson right there undefeated as well. So Viger right now on top of Satsuma, and LaFleur down as well to Citronelle as they are playing ball up tonight in Citronelle. Go to Class 6A Region 1 if we can get it on. I believe we have enough time. You talked about Blount being down to St. Paul's there, Corey. They're undefeated. And, of course, the #1 team in the state, Saraland, undefeated as well. Daphne playing at Rain tonight, and they're looking for their first win. Had to forfeit a win earlier this year because of an ineligible player. I think we're ready for action. We'll get to 7A Region 1 after this play. So 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Ball at the 21-yard line. Fumble snap. Corey once again trying to get that ball to Edrin Houston. Let's see if the Vikings were able to get back on top of it and recover. I believe they did. It'll be 2nd down and about 11 yards here for MGM.
And that's huge if that turnover is gained by the Panthers. But you just want to protect that pigskin if you're the Vikings. You've already given up the one play touchdown. Only took 20 seconds as we started the third quarter, but now you're looking at a situation where it's 2nd down and 11 yards to go. Don't want to throw the interception deep in your own territory.
Highlands looking over to the sideline. Play clock under 10 seconds. Needs to get this one off to prevent a delay of game penalty. Snaps it at 2. Does a little head fake, but he overthrows his receiver trying to connect with Jarius Green. Let's take a look at 7A Region 1. Theodore undefeated right there. McGill undefeated as well. They are playing Davidson tonight. Last score was 14-0 over Davidson. Baker at 1-1 in the region, and we're here at MGM and Murphy. Big contest. Both of these teams are 1-1, Corey, so they definitely want to get the win tonight.
Now the Yellow Jackets have extended that lead to 17-6 over the Davidson Warriors.
That game being played at Ladd Stadium in Mobile.
Theodore also leading 14-0 over Fairhope.
Screen set up here for the Vikings as they get the ball out to big number 83, Logan Howell. But there's an injured Viking player down. Looks like one of the linemen there in the middle.
Great job of timing, almost an interception by the Murphy Panthers as they were on defense and they tried to diagnose that screenplay but weren't able to. Looks like it may be the center for the MGM Vikings, Carl Blankenship. So while Blankenship's down and they're looking at him, we'll take a look at the Alabama Sports Writers Association polls. Try to get those up right here while we have an injury timeout. Take a look at the 4A poll. No surprise there. UMS Wright still on the top. And they got another win last night over Williamson. Hillcrest Evergreen at 2-1. And Andalusia, they lost to UMS Wright last week, so they dropped down to number 9 in the state rankings. Williamson had some votes there, but this poll was done before the loss last night. So Williamson is now 2-1 and UMS Wright being 3-0. Let's see if we can switch over to 5A. Alabama Sports Writers Association poll. Viger picking up a couple votes. Corey, they're playing tonight at Satsuma, and Citronelle sitting at 3-0, getting a respectful 2 votes right there, and Jackson at 2-0. That's going to be a nice battle coming up in a couple of weeks with Viger and Jackson. I believe that game's at Pritchard Stadium too as well. Going to be huge in regard to the standings. You look at Viger, I think, being the 3-time 5A Region 1 champion.
You're right.
So they're trying to go ahead and protect their crown as they're always the hunted instead of being the hunter.
Chris Brewer gets another nice punt off tonight. And, of course, like last time, Xavier Dixon getting out of the way. Let's take it back to the 6A state poll. Saraland still on top, undefeated. This is their first time being ranked number 1. Blunt sitting at number 7. They were number 8 last week. Someone in front of them lost. I can't recall. So they move up 1 spot to number 7. And Spanish Fort picking up 1 vote. And let's move up to the 7A top 10 poll for the Alabama Sports Writers Association. McGill-Tulane was actually off last week, and the number 1 team in the state, Hoover, lost, and Thompson jumped McGill, Corey. So not a good week to be off, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I agree. Thompson really shocking. Hoover trailing the way that they did, over 2 touchdowns, coming back and finding a way to win that game. But when you look at this situation here, 7A Region 1, Murphy's all-time 27-3 versus MGM. Their last region championship was in 2008. Still trying to keep that within their reach.
Yeah, they have owned this series. Pass incomplete. Tried to connect with Tanaka Scott. Had his hands on it, Corey. But is knocked out by the DB, and it is going to be 2nd down for the Murphy Panthers.
Yeah, if you're Tanaka Scott, you just have to put that play behind you and play the next play. He's an impact player for the Panthers. Came away with those huge catches a week ago against the Fairhope Pirates on the road. That situation, he just tried to run with the football instead of looking it all the way in and then running with the football. 2nd down and 10 for the Panthers.
1 receiver at the top, 2 at the bottom, Scott and Milton. Double backs in the backfield with Howell. 2nd and 10 as they hand it off to Kid Bryant. And the Vikings wrap him up. He goes nowhere. Around the corner, we're going to have that Game of the Week brain buster, so don't move. That's our weekly trivia question we put out. And, Corey, I think we might have a good one tonight. You might have to do a little thinking about it tonight. So look at the Vikings band right there just to the left of us here at E.S. Grider Stadium.
And a great crowd
for
for
awesome
2019 here in Sims, Alabama at E.S. Grider Stadium. And it's a situation to where MGM having their own stadium, you love to see the stands packed with the Vikings fans knowing what's at stake in this game.
And Corey, you talked about it earlier, nothing like natural grass, man. It looks beautiful out here at the stadium. That's a beautiful pass going out, but incomplete. Cannot connect with his receiver as Alex Howell tried to get it out to Adrian Milton. They hooked up earlier tonight for a touchdown, but that's going to be 4th down now for the Murphy Panthers.
Situation now, the Vikings need to get that crowd involved, and how can you do that? By having a big play on offense. If you have that big play on offense and are able to get the crowd back into it, it gives you that juice the same way it did in the 2nd quarter of action.
C.J. Wallace setting up at his own 31-yard line for this punt from Tanaka Scott as the play clock approaches 10 seconds. And Scott gets the punt off. Wallace going to pick it up and return it a bit here, Corey, as he is brought down at about his own 44-yard line. Got to thank our folks over at Firehouse Subs for taking care of us tonight with the eats. Big thanks to Jim and Susie Sherman over at the Greelite Road location. Make sure you enjoy more subs and save more lives with Firehouse Subs. Also, big shout out to Future Ones. Got us in our red Firehouse red polos tonight, Corey. Future Ones, where you can get your team apparel and equipment from baseball to wrestling and all sports in between. Wear the future with Future Ones. And I got to say, we are looking pretty bright tonight.
You gotta love those Future Ones polos that they provide to us, and the t-shirts that the crew have on the sidelines looking great.
Bright lights here at E.S. Grider Stadium are on as the Vikings are down 9 points, 23-14 with 3:37 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Short run by Edrin Houston, but no gain. It's going to take a loss of about a yard, pushing the Vikings to 2nd and 11.
Going to be very important. I tell you who's been kind of quiet. Jarius Green, the 6 foot, 180-pound senior who you see in the slot. I would like to see him run some type of intermediate route in between the seams. The middle of the field is wide open if you're able to run that type of slant.
Little quick out trying to set a screen up, and the Vikings receiver, Kelton Young, can't get anywhere to go because the Panthers saw that one from last week, Corey. They read that all day long.
Yeah, it's a situation to where you're not going to pick up any yardage. Now you're going to bring up 3rd down and close to 9 yards to go for the Vikings. 2:45 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. It's going to be very important that the Vikings continue to extend this drive right here. If they don't, Chris Brewer has done a wonderful job of flipping the field. He can pin the Panthers. He's had that end-over-end punt, but you definitely want to pick up the 1st down to keep the Panthers defense on the field.
3rd and 9 here for the Vikings. Big play. Let's see what offense coordinator Grady McCluskey dials up. Hollins rolls out and throws it incomplete. No flag. Maybe someone thought it was roughing the quarterback in the stands, but no flag there as Brewer comes on. Okay, parents, it's time to get connected with Parent Connect. Join Carmen Bounds and Paula Reese as they look into district-wide policies that concern your child and their school. You can catch them weekly right here on the MCPSS TV network. That's Parent Connect. Brewer ready to connect toe to leather right here on this punt as Ferris Wheeler comes onto the field, setting up at about his own 20-yard line. And another booming, spectacular punt from Brewer. He's got a nice leg, Corey.
I think he's one of the best punters we've seen throughout this season. As we mentioned, his ability to flip the field and pin the Panthers deep in their own territory. He's been knocking on the door of the 30-yard line, but his balls find a way to go end over end as they're high arcing punts, and when they hit the ground, they pick up another 10 to 12 yards once they hit.
Sure do. Ball sitting at about the 8-yard line. Coach Stan McCain is the special teams coach for MGM. I don't know if he is helping Brewer with his kicking, but Brewer doing a fine job of flipping the field as you just talked about it. So Murphy backed up deep in their own territory, ball being spotted at the 9-yard line. So 1st and 10 with 91 yards to go if they try to put this one in the end zone. Play clock under 20. Panthers really taking their time here, Corey. 2:02 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Big run up the middle from Ferris Wheeler, trying to dig the Panthers out of a hole. Picks up maybe about 5 or 6.
Sean Maxwell, the middle linebacker, 6'1", 180-pound junior with the stop for the Vikings, and he's an impact player, and you can see why. 5-yard gain, nice push by the offensive line of the Murphy Panthers. You look at the starting offensive line, which was Douglas Boyce, Jalen Hastings, Marquise Jackson, Miles Boyd, and Carlos Wheat, trying to control the line of scrimmage.
2nd down and 5 here for the Murphy Panthers. Little toss out to Wheeler. He's got a head of steam. He picks up a couple, Corey. He's going to be close, maybe about a yard or 2 short of the 1st down. It's going to be 3rd and short for the Panthers, but the officials are calling for a measurement. And while they call for the measurement, well, Corey, it looks like they're moving the stick. So let's take a look at our Game of the Week brainbuster question. All right, Corey, MGM hasn't made the playoffs in 16 years. That's the longest streak of any Mobile County public school. Name the next schools with the longest streak. Mobile County Public Schools. So think about that one. It is 1st and 10 for the Murphy Panthers. So Williams got enough, and they moved the chains. 46 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter. And I spit that radio out right quick, and they threw a flag. I could have took my time, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation, though, if you're the Panthers.
False start offense, 5 yards, 1st down.
You have to be very careful. You had that tall sweep that was run. That's one of the hardest plays to do, because if you don't throw and toss that ball correctly,
right,
and the back doesn't look it in all the way in, it could be a fumble going in the wrong direction. So you want to go with the safe handoffs here and the intermediate passes, but deep in their own territory are the Panthers at 1st and 15.
3 receivers at the bottom of the screen. They hand it off to Wheeler, and he is immediately wrapped up by the Vikings. Maybe picked up about 1 yard as it takes Murphy to 2nd down.
The Vikings doing a good job on that stop. Brings up 2nd down and 12 yards to go. Behind the sticks again are the Panthers because of that penalty. So again, 14 to 23 our score as we're about to end the 3rd quarter of play.
Yeah, that's going to wrap up our third quarter here, Corey, with Murphy on top 23-14. The third quarter started off with quite a bang on the first play from scrimmage in the third quarter. It was a 70-yard bomb from Alex Howell to DeQuarius Westry, and he took it to the house. And then on the next play, MGM fumbles, but Murphy can't capitalize and get a quick score off that fumble.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference in tonight's contest. The first play of the third quarter.
Yeah.
You look at that and the ability to hit the field goal by the Panthers. The missed extra point early, you knew it's a 9-point difference instead of a 10. So either way you look at it, it's a two-score game. MGM, they can't afford to grind the clock out here in the fourth quarter. They've got to pop off that big play sometime here early to get the momentum going, to get their crowd behind them.
All right, Corey, while we got a break right here, we're going to give you that answer to the game of the week brain buster. Let's get the question back up so Corey can get his thinking cap on right quick. All right, Corey, here we go. MGM hasn't made the playoffs in 16 years, the longest streak of any Mobile County public school. Can you name the schools with the next longest streaks? There are only 11 county high schools, Corey.
I'm going to go with the Alba Bryant Hurricanes.
Alma Bryant?
Yeah, I'm going to go with them, having the second longest or the streak.
And there's your answer. Came in a little quick, but Bryant and LaFleur both last made the playoffs in 2013, so they own the next longest streaks without making the playoffs.
I definitely would have said Bryant for sure.
Okay.
I would have missed out on the LaFleur answer, which I did miss out on because I would have said that they had made the playoffs prior to, but again, it's a situation to where how valuable and how much it means to these guys trying to find the postseason play.
And that's something MGM, they came close a couple years ago where they had a win or get in game against Baker a couple years ago. I was working the sidelines, and it literally came down to the last play, and they were on top, but man, their heart was broken when Trey McMillan bust through and ran one for a touchdown. And Corey, this place went from excitement to sheer distraught.
Well, the team motto of the MGM Vikings for 2019 is Breakthrough 1108.
All right.
I was trying to figure out what did that mean, Breakthrough 1108.
I remember.
Breakthrough 1108 is going to mean that's the first week of the playoffs this year.
That's right.
So that's what they want to get to, and it's a situation here they're going to have to scratch and claw and come up with a big play to try to get there.
Kid Bryant with the run there for the Panthers. Let's take it on the sideline and check in with Kimberly Dunn.
We've been very fortunate in this game to not have very many, but number 56 for the Mary Montgomery Vikings did walk off in the third quarter with a shoulder injury. He just said he got slammed in the shoulder, and since then he's been trying to stretch his arms, rotate that shoulder. There's a lot of stiffness in there. They're not real sure if it's just tender or if he dislocated it. So either way, he's trying to work it out, see if he can get the pain out of there so he can get back in the game.
All right, Kimberly, appreciate that. Carl Blankenship, she's talking about the center for the Vikings. We saw him go down. There's been a stoppage in play at this point. So let's take a look at the remaining schedule for the MGM Vikings for the rest of the season as it shapes out for them. They're going to travel to meet McGill next week. Then they're going to host Citronelle. And then right there, they are region tight the rest of the way, Corey, at Davison, at Foley, Theodore, and of course the big one for MGM, the Battle of West Mobile, as they go up against Baker on November 1st. We'll take a look at the Murphy schedule. We can get their schedule on. I talked about it earlier. Murphy's on a bye next week, and then they have Viger. But look at this gauntlet here. At Theodore, they got Davison at Ladd, then they're at Baker. So those are three pivotal games, but most importantly, you talked about it, Corey, you got to start tonight to get this one before you bye.
Coach Rico Jackson talked about building off of the momentum and sustaining momentum off of the big win that they had against the Fairhope Pirates on the road 1 week ago. And now it's a situation to where his Murphy Panthers were up 16-0 in the first quarter and now are leading 23-14. Have to find a way to sustain this type of drive here on 2nd down and 8. not giving the Vikings back the football unless they score.
Yeah, Coach McCain told me before he wanted his kids to be tested to see if they could come from behind. Well, tonight is the night, fourth quarter, 10:54 remaining in the contest, and that one complete to Tanaka Scott. The last two attempted to him were incomplete. He hauls that one in. Let's see where his forward progress is going to take him, maybe up to about the 37-yard line. It'll take Murphy to third down.
And you have another Viking down on the play.
There is a down Viking. Yeah, see if we can get a number on him. Officials timeout. As we take the timeout, we will get our player of the game later on, Corey. Interesting few candidates we may have tonight. Possibly quarterback Alex Howell. Looks like it may be Trey Umbarger, I believe.
Yeah, I saw a single-digit number down on the field for the Vikings.
From his strong safety position. We'll take a break and come back. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Want to find out which Mobile County High School is right for you? Join us on Tuesday, September 24th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the USA Mitchell Center for our Signature Academy Showcase. The event is open to all 7th and 8th graders and parents. Representatives from all 12 high schools will be on hand to talk about our academies. Whether it's aviation, engineering, or healthcare, there's hundreds of career options to choose from. So join us on Tuesday, September 24th for our Signature Academy Showcase. At Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today, leading tomorrow.
I have known since I was in 4th grade that I was going to be a teacher. I really just truly enjoy coming to work every day and working with different sets of kids and just watching them grow and learn.
I couldn't see myself doing anything other than teaching children, being a part of children's lives, being able to inspire them in a way that some people just aren't able to do. And to know that every day is a new day, a new opportunity to make a difference in the child's life means everything to me.
We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Trey Umbarger being taken off the field right there, limping. Corey needing some assistance. He was down for a minute there, but we're going to take a look at him and get him to the sideline. Maybe we can get a checkup from Kimberly Dunn on his condition later on.
Situation now for the Vikings. 3rd down and 6. They have to come away with the stop with 10:39 remaining to try to kill any Murphy momentum.
Officials have signaled. I believe we have a timeout here. Murphy has called timeout at 10:37, so looks like Coach Jackson getting a little strategic with the chess match here. You had an injury timeout, and he's going to burn his first timeout of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, and I think
I'm sorry, 4th quarter.
I think that's a very smart call timeout because you want to make sure that you're well prepared for everything that's at hand, because you don't want to punt the ball away to the Vikings and allow them to have any type of momentum offensively. Here in the second half, again, that one play was huge by the Panthers that only took 20 seconds. That has been our only score here of the second half.
Next week, we're going to take it down to the Bayou, Corey. We're going into the eye of the storm. It is the Battle of South Mobile County, Theodore versus Bryant. So make sure you join us next week, 6:50 p.m. Remember, 10 minutes early before kickoff. You can join Corey LeBounty and myself as we take you down into the eye next week and visit the Bryant Hurricanes and Theodore Bobcats.
Yeah, it's a situation now that you're looking forward to that 7A Region 1 matchup. Bryant want to go ahead and take advantage of the Theodore Bobcats, who are the defending 7A Region 1 champion.
All right, 3rd and 5 here for the Panthers after the timeout. See what play call they have. Triple stack receivers at the top. Empty set. And Howell's got a man down the middle, and he connects with Adrian Milton. They've already connected for 1 touchdown tonight. And that's a big first down into Viking territory, ball at the 39-yard line.
Just what offensive coordinator Justin Thomas ordered. You have Howell being very patient in the pocket, taking the hit, throwing it on the money to his wide receiver, who comes away with the first down, Adrian Milton, moving the sticks for the Panthers.
Corey, what I liked about that pass, he looked off Rayshawn Kidd Bryant to the left, came back to the seam route, and found Milton right up the middle. So great vision by the young quarterback.
Coach Rico Jackson talked about the high IQ of his quarterback, thus leading to the Player of the Week awards that you talked about earlier in the broadcast that piled up for this young man 1 week ago as they were trailing 24-6.
Offense, 5 yards, first down.
In the fourth quarter.
False start against the Panthers, pushes them back 5 yards. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. He told us about how detail-oriented the young man is. He's very good in his books, smart young man. So the one thing he's got to work on is let the game come to him, get the feel of the game. And I think we can kind of see that tonight.
Yeah, you don't want to turn the ball over here, though, if you're the Panthers in this situation. You want to go ahead and value it, make sure when you catch it, you wrap the football up, and you don't want to throw an interception either.
1st and 15. Can't really say it was a screen. I think Howell was trying to just get rid of that one and threw it at the feet of one of the receivers. But a late flag comes in on the far side of the field near one of the chains there, Corey, the down marker possibly.
I think it's going to be on the Vikings, the way that he was reacting, the defensive back walking away from the play.
Right.
And he's still very heated about it. Situation to where the Vikings just have to keep their composure in that situation. I think it's Ty McMillan who's a little bit upset. He's playing that left cornerback position over there. Good. He's excited that it was unsportsmanlike.
Right, unsportsmanlike against Murphy.
Let's take a look to see what we had that would have caused that unsportsmanlike penalty. You see him right there. Let's see if there's oh yeah, he got slung into the stick.
Tanaka Scott took him down, and that's why our stick was down.
And that's why he was upset.
Yeah.
I was wondering, was he jaw-jacking? He was excited that just cost the Murphy Panthers 15 yards. Now it's second down and close to 32 yards to go.
We'll call it, like I always say, second and a country mile here for the Panthers. Howell rolling out and does get that ball to his receiver, Westry. Get a few of those yards back. Let's get an injury update from Kimberly Dunn on Trey Umbarger.
Yes, he was here on the sidelines. I've been watching him. He sustained an injury to his knee when he was tackled in the knee and then someone fell on top of it. So right now he's just trying to work that out. He is hopeful that he will get in later in the game, but right now he is still in some severe pain.
Thank you, Kim. We appreciate that. Hopefully the young man's going to be okay, but the way he's grimacing right there, Corey, he's got to get to the training table quick.
Yeah, the Vikings lost a vital part of their offense early on the third play of the season. Wide receiver senior Akeelan Bush tore his ACL, and we wish him the best in his recovery.
Third down and long for the Panthers. Howell taking his time, just kind of throws that one in the air, trying to get it to Tanaka Scott. He had stopped running, but the ball field looked like right in front of Ty McMillan. He couldn't bring in the interception, Corey.
Yeah, that's the advantaged opportunity that you wanted to take if you were the Vikings, but you're still going to force the Panthers to put it and punt it away with 9:03 remaining here in the fourth quarter. We mentioned about the speed of C.J. Wallace. Has not been able to catch one off of the bounce yet because it's not been a great punting opportunity. Tanaka Scott is the punter for the Murphy Panthers, and the first punt he had probably went 25 or 30 yards.
Gets a decent punt right there, end over end. And the Panthers are going to down it at about the 33-yard line. So MGM will take over at 8:50 remaining in the contest, down 9 points, needing to score twice. So Coach McCain and Coach McCluskey got to discuss some things right now to get it back together. They're without their center, I believe, Carl Blankenship. Let's see if he will come out on this series, Corey. He went down early with an injury.
Kelton Young, number 4 for the Vikings, is their leading wide receiver. He's had a very quiet night. Ashton Hollins, though, is going to be the difference maker on this drive for the Vikings. He has to make sure, again, he protects the pigskin and does not throw an interception.
New center Jalen Houston, number 55, in to replace Blankenship. Gets a good clean snap off, and look at Houston on the run. Edrin Houston, he's got green grass in front of him. Can they catch him, Corey? The 20, the 15, 10. Edrin Houston with a touchdown for the MGM Vikings.
Yeah, that run was probably close to 74 yards in length, and it was an absolute track meet, folks. If you want to see row your Viking boat, Look at this young fella bounce to the outside. Edrin Houston. I know for a fact he has 2 touchdowns on the night, but this one was the shot in the arm that the Vikings need, getting on the scoreboard. Now trailing 20-23 against the Murphy Panthers. Have to decide whether they want to go for 2 and make this a 1-score game.
I believe they're going for 2. Remember, Coach McCain is the special teams coach for the Vikings. They give it back to Houston. Does he have enough steam to get into the end zone?
Does
And
not.
he is short. So looking back at the down marker, Corey, about 64 yards, and that is Houston's 3rd touchdown tonight. Scoreboard has not caught up yet to indicate the actual touchdown to make it 23-20.
They said he did not score. Off of that, they said he stepped
Whoa,
out of
wait a
bounds
minute.
at
So
the
that was not a
1-yard
2-point
line.
conversion. That was first down, Corey.
That was
wow.
first and goal to go. I thought that he scored it, but the referee on the side said he stepped out of bounds. Nonetheless, 2nd down and goal to go
Second
now.
down goal here for the Vikings. They need to punch it in, and I believe they have enough to get it there right there with the touchdown.
And I don't know if we're able to bring up that replay of that
Wow.
long run that Edrin Houston had to see if he did step out of bounds, but it's not going to matter now because the Vikings were able to put 6 on the board on the last play, scoring 6 points right there on your instant replay, now making this true score 20-23. Looks like they're going to go ahead and decide to kick the extra point. If they make it, 21-23 will be our new score.
Brewer on for the PAT. And it is up, so our score is now 23-21. Our guys in the truck have re-racked that video, Corey, so we can get a look at it to see for ourselves. Here's the handoff to Houston. And he had a full head of steam, and they couldn't catch up with him. Great camera work here. Let's see. Maybe he possibly stepped out. Yeah, right. Maybe right there.
At the 2-yard line is where they marked it, and you look at the official almost running parallel to him, said his left foot must have touched the end line, but still a huge run of some 60-plus yards by Houston. By far, not only the longest of the game, but the longest of the season by the 5'7", 135-pound junior running back. Just like that, it's 23-21. You mentioned earlier in the game, the Murphy kicker, Redson Kabambala. He missed that extra point.
Yep, he did.
That would have made it 24-21. At the time, they were leading 16-0, so you didn't feel that that would come back and really affect the game. But now looking back at it, I'm shocked to say that it has made a difference in this game. A field goal difference with 8:06 remaining. The Viking crowd, you could feel the press box area rocking underneath us as the Vikings scored that. That's the loudest that this Viking crowd has been all night long.
It is homecoming. Short pooch kick right there from Brewer, the way he's been kicking it. That's a short one. And on the move for the Panthers, bringing it all across. Great comeback. Jacoby Jones with a nice comeback, Corey, up to about the 46-yard line. So we are at 7:55 remaining here in the contest. MGM down 2, 23-21. And Corey, players of the game, you may want to consider Alex Howell, may want to consider Edrin Houston. He didn't get the touchdown, he scored 2, but that big 64-yard run set up their last score.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at Edrin Houston for the Vikings. Offensively, defensively, Sean Maxwell has been very active. And Alex Howell for the Murphy Panthers as well, all possible player of the game candidates.
All right, the Viking faithful are getting turned up right now. 1st and 10, ball at the 47-yard line. Alex Howell just going to keep this one and barrel ahead for a couple of yards. It'll take Murphy to 2nd and about 6.
William Nunn did a good job staying at home, decided to take the quarterback instead of the pitch man, let the cornerback take the pitch man in that situation, and because of it, Howell is tackled. Nunn is the 5'9", 165-pound senior.
Looks as if Umberger's pads have been taken off, Corey, and they have his knee iced up. And he's on some crutches right now, so I don't think we're going to see him returning. So his backup is Dalton Johnston, number 48 for the Vikings. Howell, a lot of room, Corey. He's got a lot of green grass. Kind of does a little stutter step and goes out of bounds at about the 27, 28-yard line. Big run. I think the young man is saying, I'm going to keep the rock and take control myself.
They ran the option to the left the last play. This play, they decided to run the option to the right. And another huge gain for the Murphy Panthers. 7:09 remaining here in the fourth quarter, with it being a one-score ball game. Murphy knocking on the red zone door of the MGM Vikings.
Coach McCain talked about the state of the program, so they got to work on being consistent week in and week out. Last year it was too many ups and downs. I got to teach the kids to be focused and learn how to win. Too many missed opportunities last year, losing close contests and wrapping them up close. Kid Bryant is brought down by the Vikings. That's going to be a loss. It'll be second down and about 12 here for Murphy.
Dawson Sims with the big-time stop.
Backed up by Eric Mills as well, number 5 there.
And that's important that you get that type of stop early in the down and distance situation, because you take them right out of field goal position if you don't allow them to gain any additional yardage from the original line of scrimmage.
Second and 13 here for the Panthers. 6:13, clock is ticking in the fourth quarter. They're up by 2. Howell decides to keep it. Gets a block from Williams, but it's not a good block because he is taken down for a no gain on the play.
William Nunn was able to stay home and make that stop again. A loss on the play by the Murphy Panthers. And if you're the Vikings, you cannot let anything get behind you from the defensive standpoint. If you're defensive coordinator Jared Parton, you're urging your secondary to step up and make sure they're aware of what their assignments are. If you have to burn a timeout right here, you do, to regroup your guys, because this is the biggest down of the game so far for the Vikings.
5:48 and counting, third down and long for Murphy. Play action. Howell gets that ball out, trying to get to his man, Tanaka Scott. Incomplete as C.J. Wallace knocks it out, and it is fourth down and decision time here for Coach Rico Jackson.
You're looking at where the ball is spotted. There's a penalty flag on the 22-yard line.
Yep, here on the near side here. And it looks like the officials are pointing
an eligible receiver
downfield. So I'm pretty sure Coach McCain's going to
decline it. And man downfield against the offense. That penalty's been declined. Fourth down.
Got a tight one going on over at St. Paul's. They're on top of Blunt, 21-20. So the Leopards have fought their way back into that contest, Corey.
Special teams seems to be the difference maker. Somehow the Leopards were able to miss a point after, making it 21-20.
Well, Coach Jackson doesn't have to burn a timeout, Corey. Look at there, 5:39 dead ball. You know what that means. It's our last officials heat timeout of the ball game.
It would be a 43-yard field goal attempt from where the ball is spotted right now on the right hash for the Murphy Panthers. And there's no breeze, no wind here to kick against, as you can see the flag not moving at all in the far end zone for the Panthers. I don't think right here that he has the type of leg that can make a 46-yard field goal. And that's going to be imperative. If he does attempt it, you take and risk the opportunity of it being blocked and a scoop and score taking place.
You're right about that, Corey. We're going to find out what the decision is. And next week, we already know the decision. It's been made. We're going into the eye of the storm, headed down to Irvington for Theodore versus Bryant, also known as the Battle of South Mobile County. So make sure you join us at 6:50, 10 minutes early before kickoff, when we bring you the next MCPSS high school football game of the week.
LaFleur and Centennial knotted up at 26 apiece, so that's a big region matchup as well.
All right, here's the call. Murphy's going to go for it. Ball at the MGM 26-yard line, looking at about 4th and 14. Big play here. Nothing new for the Cardiac Kids of Murphy. They had the Murphy Miracle last week against Fairhope and almost pulls one out right there, as that ball is incomplete to DeQuarius Westry, And the Vikings hold, Corey, and the stands go wild.
Dante Rogers, the 5'6", 135-pound sophomore, is in one-on-one coverage. The ball was in play. It's a jump ball situation. You look at the replay. Alex Howell drops back, throws the ball to the right. And again, you have to stand up and make that big play. Hits him in his hands.
Great defensive
but
play.
Again, knocked away. Dante Rogers. The Vikings take over with the fan support behind them. You hear these aluminum bleachers making a lot of noise here at ES Grider Stadium.
And you can see the arm strength of the young man. Howell kind of threw that one off his back foot there. All right, it's all set up for MGM. See if they can drive down the field at their own 33-yard line. There he is, Edrin Houston, continuing to churn those legs, picks up the first down and gets it to about the 43-yard line. First down, MGM.
Look at the instant replay. Great push by this MGM offensive line, but that's where they've had success, bouncing to the outside of this Panther defense. And it's been a situation to where the Vikings, when they've established a running game, it's been bouncing to the outside, breaking the Murphy containment.
5:21 left in the contest. High snap to Hollins. He's got to escape. Panthers wrap him up right about at the line of scrimmage, so no gain on the play. It'll be second down and 10.
Well, 5 minutes now remaining. You look at the Vikings only having one timeout remaining on the board. Murphy has two.
Right.
Trailing by 2 points are the Vikings. They have an outstanding kicker in Chris Brewer. His long field goal of the season is of 29 yards, Al. He's 8 out of 8 on extra points coming into this game. Has had an opportunity to continue to remain perfect tonight also.
Play clock at 15, and it looks like Coach McCain is going to use a timeout right here at 4:37 remaining in the third quarter. In the ball game.
Here's the pivotal point, Al. 1 year ago, you mentioned how many games the Vikings lost late in the fourth quarter by 6 points or less.
They lost by 6 to Murphy, and they lost by 6 to McGill-Tulane, but that was an overtime game. So they lost 2 region games by a total of 12 points last year.
Another situation
back-to-back games
to where when you come in with 30-plus seniors on your roster, you want to see that type of growth. This is where you know that your seniors have taken the next step in the process that Coach Stan McCain wants to establish here at MGM.
And that is something he talked about at media days on last year's team. He said they made a step forward, but they know they left some on the table. Bit disappointed, couple wins got away from them, as we like to call it in the business, 50-50 games. You know, it could have went either way, and they were on the losing end on a couple of those 50-50 games, and he knew it, Corey. So you're talking about that senior leadership they have this year coming back for MGM, one of the largest schools in Mobile County. Down right now 2 points to the Murphy Panthers, and they're giving that rock back to Edrin Houston as he's running it up for a couple of yards, maybe 2 or 3, and it will take MGM to a critical third down and long.
Well, you've seen the success that the Vikings have had trying to bounce the football to the outside. Edrin Houston is asking to come out of the contest, so you know he won't be a factor here on third down and 8 yards to go. You're asking your quarterback, your sophomore quarterback, Ashton Hollins, to make a huge decision here in where he decides to place this football. They've been very versatile on the run-pass option with him keeping the football, but he's going to have to make an accurate. Tellis Stone is asking for a timeout and does not get it.
Does not get it. And Hollins slips, and a flag comes out as well. Immediately, Alan Duhan calls a hold against MGM, but you could see Tellis Stone across the field just
jumping
screaming
up and down
for a timeout, but was not granted one by the officials.
And caught a break with the holding penalty in that situation.
Against the offense, penalties declined, fourth down.
So Murphy is declining the penalty. It'll take MGM to fourth down. And on comes the special teams crew for MGM. You can see the young man right there disappointed. They had his number called, Corey. It was pretty much up to him to take it and do it for them. And they were looking at about 3rd and 7. Brewer on to punt. No one back to receive the punt from Murphy because they thought the fake was on. As I said, Coach McCains is a special teams coach, and that ball is picked up at the line of scrimmage by Murphy. It is ball over on downs. I'm not surprised at all by this. I think that's some research by Coach Rico Jackson for Murphy, Corey.
Yeah, it's just a situation, though, you have to execute it. You look at the snap, it's bobbled. A little fumble Ruski is where they tried to give it to number 40 off of the handoff, and it just wasn't cleanly exchanged. Sean Maxwell, they tried to give it to him, and he was smothered underneath. Now you look at the timeout situation. The Vikings trailing by 2 with 3:41 remaining here in the 4th quarter. They're going to have to try to send the Panthers in reverse.
Right.
Murphy, on the other hand, if they're able to get 2 first downs, this contest is going to be over.
It'll be over. I'm not surprised at all with that call from Coach McCain. He's a clever fella, so he could pull something out, but was not executed and could not be pulled off. So Murphy, all they have to do is keep the ball within the grounds and keep the clock ticking. Howell has all this room. Corey, will he just go down? But no, he's continuing to run to the end zone for a touchdown. Alex Howell for 34 yards. Wow.
Huge momentum-changing play by the Panthers. The turnover on downs, then you turn around, and just like that, in one play, absolutely no one to be found on the right side of the Vikings defense. They had success running that play earlier, but Howell finds a way to cut back against the grain, put 6 more on that cushion for the Murphy Panthers, as now they lead the MGM Vikings by 2 scores.
DeQuaris Restry coming on to hold this for Reston Kambabala. PAT is up. And it is good, so Murphy on top 30-21. We'll come back and discuss the player of the game. I think I have an idea who it might be. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Welcome back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Just when you thought it was safe, Alex Howell escapes and scores a 34-yard touchdown on a quarterback keeper. And Corey, I think he just ran into becoming the player of the game tonight. That is his 4th touchdown.
That's playing with Panther pride.
Wow.
You knew what was on the line. The Panthers were poised on that drive and were able to capitalize.
Booming kick from Kambabala, and that's going to be a touchback in the end zone. Corey, Howell has thrown for 3 and run for 1. This guy's pretty electric.
Yeah, pretty impressive numbers by this young man. And we mentioned all the awards that he had won 1 week ago as they came back and defeated the Fairhope Pirates 24-6. And they were able to hold on here. A lot of football left to be played here at 3:31 remaining in the 4th quarter. Just like we've seen the Panthers have quick strike ability,
right.
The Vikings also can give that football off to Edrin Houston, but I guarantee the Murphy Panthers are not going to give up containment, letting him bounce anything to the outside. If the Panthers are going to get beat, it's going to be through the air. A new quarterback in the game? No, it's the same quarterback in the game by the Vikings.
No, Max Pardon into the ball game. And that's a fumble snap there as he falls down on it. MGM down 9 points, needing 2 scores to try to get back into this ball game with 3:16 and counting. And they are backed up
and it's
to the 10-yard line.
I would be interested to see if Ashton Hollins is hurt or whether you look at Pardon decide to come into the contest here late in this game, really has not taken any reps until this last drive.
Well, he's played some this year, but at the top, Coach McCain told me they would use him for like 2-minute drill situations, and if there was ever one right now, 2:53 remaining. But I will say this, Corey, kind of coming in a bit cold and looking at the situation, Holland's already hot and has the rhythm, but maybe Coach McCain trying to spark or do something here.
Well, you're kind of showing your hand to where now you're already at 3rd down and 20 yards to go.
Yeah.
That first penalty puts you in reverse, so now you're in a must-pass situation. The Panthers looks like they're going to play too deep to make sure they don't get beat over the top.
Just all prevent keeping in front of him. Look quick out to Young, and he goes nowhere but backwards. And that's going to take MGM to 4th down as he is tackled by Jamari Butler.
Right on the verge were the Vikings knocking at the door. That Skull Vikings sound that we heard was getting pretty loud, but the Panthers are able to quiet the crowd and send a lot of these Vikings fans to the exits with 2:20 remaining here in the 4th quarter.
Chris Brewer in his end zone to punt. No one back for Murphy to return this. As we actually do have a punt here, and the Panthers are just going to allow the Vikings to down this ball. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Murphy at 1:58 remaining in the contest. The last time they touched the ball, Alex Howell ran into the end zone 34 yards. As a lot of folks in the stands thought maybe Murphy would just sit on it, Corey, as you talked about, just get a couple first downs. But surprisingly, they continued to go, and into the end zone they went and extended their lead 30-21.
Rico Jackson wanted to build a winning culture when he came in. He came in with new uniforms, new helmets, new Block M logo on those uniforms, wanted to build the Alumni Association up. He's trying to bridge the community. He knows how important it is. Had an alumni dinner to try to bridge the gap in between the old Murphy alum and the new Murphy current students and community. Done a good job so far. The Panthers are going to go ahead. I think they won 3 games 1 year ago.
That's
well,
right.
through their first 4 weeks of football, they already have 3 wins if they're able to go ahead and salt this game away.
Let's take a look at our player of the game for tonight, Corey, and we have the camera on him right there. Hopefully at the end of the contest, Kimberly Dunn will be able to get Alex Howell down on the field with Coach Rico Jackson. Career Tech Education Player of the Game, Alex Howell of the Murphy Panthers. And Corey, he put in some hard work tonight building on his future. 4 touchdowns, 3 in the air, and 1 on the ground.
Yeah, it's a situation to where you want to know how the Panthers can get better. Well, they have to learn how to protect the football, but going into the bye week, I think will allow them to definitely do so and to clean up a lot of things, having a lot of momentum. Sometimes when you're 3-1, though, Al, you don't want that bye. You want to go ahead and continue to sustain the type of momentum instead of waiting that open week and then having Viger to play in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we know that's the old Mayor's Cup game that used to be played. But great game by the MGM Vikings, trailing 16-0, finding a way not to give up, to stay focused, to play through the distractions, cutting it to 2 points here late in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, you talked about it. We spoke with Coach Jackson on Wednesday, and he kind of has that old school mentality, Corey. He said, I kind of wish we don't have a bye. I just want to play right on through and just keep going. He kind of has that that old school coach mentality. Once we get going, let's keep the steam going. Flag on the play and a couple guys tussling down on the field. Helmets coming off as officials are trying to break this up and separate them. This is something we don't want to see, especially toward the end of a game. We need good sportsmanship as we're trying to get this sorted out here with 13 seconds remaining in the contest. Maybe some emotions getting too involved here.
Yeah, when the whistle blows, you have to stop play, and that was a situation where it was not stopped. And, you know, it's late in the game.
Yeah.
The Panthers are up by 9 points, but you definitely don't want to see your players get ejected and lose their cool, as that's going to be an ejection definitely taking place, because Adrian Milton, what a vital part this young man plays as part of this Murphy Panther offense. You don't want to be without one of your key wide receivers. If I'm not mistaken, he has a nice touchdown tonight, does Adrian Milton. He led this Panther team in receptions coming in, so now the officials are going to have to sort it out, whether it's going to be just personal fouls on both ends or whether there's going to be ejections.
Well, they pull out the notepads, Corey.
And I think that's, an ejection is warranted in this situation because when the whistle stops.
We had a dead ball, unsportsmanlike against white. Player's been disqualified. We have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike against black. That player has been disqualified. Both fouls offset, first down.
So we'll get the do-over, Corey. It looks like we've had 2 players ejected tonight.
Yeah, I think that's going to be C.J. Wallace and Adrian Milton, and both guys are integral parts of what both of these teams try to accomplish. And when the whistle blows, you just want to stop play, and you just don't want to worry about what else is going on. That's why the referees have the whistles out there, and you don't want to put yourself before you do the team. And in that situation, when that whistle blows, you just have to stop play.
Yeah, you have to.
And you have to keep your head in that situation because you're not helping your team. You're hurting yourself and being selfish at that point in time.
Yeah, something Coach Jackson talked about at media days. We got to take the me out of it and put us into it because it's all about the entire team effort. And we have to keep that in mind as we move on into the season. So a situation right there late in the game, maybe some frustrations, emotions get involved. It's homecoming here at MGM, and they were so close, just down by 2 points. But that last score definitely put the nail in the coffin. 13 seconds remaining here as the Panthers are lining up in victory formation. Well, not actually victory formation, a little quick snap there, and that's going to do it as Howell takes the ball, our career tech education player of the game. And it's a 30-21 victory for the Murphy Panthers as they extend their record to 3-1, but most importantly, Corey, 2-1 in the region. That's the big one, as this was a 7A Region 1 contest tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you go back and you look at the things that MGN needed to do. They had to focus through the distractions. They were able to do that, trailing 16-0, and then they had to believe that they could finish strong. Well, they were right there on the cusp of finishing strong.
Right there.
Weren't able to get over that hump, and I guarantee that will be a learning lesson for this Viking team as well. But Murphy, they had to control the plus-minus game, and I think they ultimately won that turnover game by maybe +1. They had to produce points early. Again, they led 16-0. So besides cleaning up the penalties and the turnovers, those are things that you can work on coming off of a victory and coming into your bye week for the Murphy Panthers.
You're right about that. Turnovers tonight. It was not a pretty affair there, as MGM had 4 and Murphy had 3. And quite an interesting contest. Got a little tight early in the fourth quarter, but immediately, don't forget, when we came out of halftime, Murphy scored on the first play 70 yards to the Westry from Howell, and that just kind of broke the game open at that point.
20 seconds into the third quarter, almost the exact same type of play as you looked at this MGM team really be gashed by the passing game of Alex Howell. He continued to build on his great statistics from 1 week ago, and this is a building situation for this Panther program. I mentioned 1 year ago they only had 3 total wins, already have 3 wins in 4 weeks. They came close with 1 play away from the McGill-Tooling game and making that a ball game if they don't give up a special teams touchdown right there. So again, this Panther team has learned to play ahead. They've learned to play from behind. So now it's up to them to try to go ahead and find that balance and stay focused for 4 entire quarters.
I know Kimberly Dunn is trying to get a hold of Coach Jackson and also our player of the game. I believe China has the stats over there to your left, Corey. We get an idea of some of the final game stats for tonight as you can read them off there to us.
Yeah, you look at Murphy had 107 rushing yards. MGM had 127. The passing yardage, 255 passing yards by Murphy, only 31 by MGM. 362 total yards of offense for Murphy, 158 for MGM. Turnovers, MGM had 5 turnovers. And Murphy had 4, so Murphy was able to win that turnover battle by +1. Penalties, 8 for 70 yards for the penalties, 5 for 45 for MGM.
Wow, let's take it down to the field and check in with Kimberly Dunn.
I'm here with number 7, Alex Howell. You were chosen as our Career Tech Education Player of the Game. So can you tell me what kind of mindset did you have to stay in to help your team get this win tonight?
I have to keep my mind motivated at all times because I know if I get down, my team's going to get down. So as long as I stay up and they see I have positive energy, they're going to stay up as well.
Yeah, so you were actually responsible for 4 touchdowns. I don't know if you knew that, but what kind of motivation is that for you?
It's motivation, but I know I got to keep my head level so I can go out and keep winning this game. Because I know if I get the big head, it usually results in badly. So.
All right. Well, y'all, congratulations on the win, and we actually have Coach right here. Come on, Coach. Congratulations on that win tonight. So how do you feel about your team's performance tonight?
Man, just gritty to play hard. I'm excited for them. It was a big win.
Well, congratulations to y'all. I'll let you go celebrate.
Kimberly Dunn with our player of the game, Alex Howell, and winning coach Rico Jackson. Cora, we're taking it down to the I next week. It is Theodore and Bryant in the Battle of South Mobile County, so make sure you join us at 6:50 as we get ready for the next MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. For Kimberly Dunn, our statistician, China Powell, Corey LeBounty, our executive producer, Quentin Howard, and director, Wade Ford, I'm Al Wheaton saying thanks for joining us tonight for another MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Murphy gets the win. We'll see you next week.